Hey guys, I think I'm live. I hope I'm live. Let me turn the comments back on so I can see it. Yeah, just as I said in the description, just bear with me because this is my first time with StreamYard. Hey Texas. Hey old Curly Jaws, it's good to see you back in here. I was just talking about you like I don't know, a couple of streams ago or something, how I was saying that I missed you being in the streams. Um, and you say you watched Halloween Resurrection earlier. Actually, I just got through watching my 4K of Candyman in preparation for this stream. You may be thinking, well, Candyman's not really that bad of a movie, so why are you doing that? But um, Wes, you're saying I should be able to click on the comments to pop them up on the stream. Um, so do I'm not sure. Do people just usually do random ones on there that they actually pop up on the screen, or do you guys generally try to pop every one of them up there? Um, because I don't want to leave anybody out. I usually try to respond to what's going on in the chat, but so let me. Oh, I see what this. Yeah, there's. Yeah, okay, because there's the comment Wes just made. Okay, gotcha. So I'm still learning, and Wes or anybody else that I know, if Dirk's in here a little bit later, I know that he uses StreamYard whenever he does his things with Pop and the other guys. So I'm just trying to get to know the controls, and I'm hopefully this is the free version that I'm using, hence the powered by StreamYard. I think the little duck is cute, but I want to eventually be able to add my own stuff. So I'm probably going to end up having to buy StreamYard or a plan or whatever. Um, As you say, you don't have to pull all of them up, just select random ones. Okay. But I probably will still try to read them off because, like I said, I don't want to have anybody feel like they're left out. Because I always like for everybody to feel like they're included. So I'm guessing, since you guys are responding to me, to what I'm saying, I'm assuming that you can hear me. Like I said, I'm still getting used to all this stuff. It's a quite a bit different animal than OBS is, because with OBS I can see the slider going up and down with the volume, and so y'all just let me know if the volume is too low, if it's too loud, if I'm blasting you guys and you're just like being sucked back into your chair. Just let me know. I don't think I have the little astronaut light adjusted exactly right. um would y'all mind if I just step back here just 1 second and adjusted him a little bit? Because you couldn't really see it, and I was trying to. There's a reason why I have this thing, and that's so people can see it. Hopefully, so now hopefully you can see it back there on the shelf. Um, so I've got my and I'm hoping these daggone fruit flies. And no, Wes, I'm not going to clap my hands. But I'm going to try to attempt not for these damn fruit flies not to get into my Fireball whiskey, because it is cinnamon and they want to go after anything that's like that. So um as promised, I am going to have a little whiskey. I had a little bit earlier, but I thought I would stop and then maybe drink a little bit during the stream because Dana needs a little something to relax because it's been a really, and I hate to be so blunt, but it's been a really shitty. I mean, it carried over into my weekend, but like last half of last week was just really shitty. Um, and uh, and then unfortunately, and Wes knows about this because I was talking to him about it earlier. Gummies. Well, oh, curly jaws. I mean, to each his own. But those gummies just really affect me in ways that don't make me feel totally in control. And I know if you have too much alcohol, you would definitely won't be in control and you'll be sick too. But um, the last time I tried the gummies, it almost made me feel like I was going to get out of control and have a panic attack, which is definitely not my ultimate goal. Uh, oh, good Lord, you had four? Man, you might. I mean, have you built up a tolerance to those old curly jaws, or are you going to be laid out in a little bit? But for whatever reason, um, me and the gummies just don't gel well together. Now, Steve and the gummies, it's okay. So I'm using the whiskey in an attempt to stay a little more relaxed. Um, I'm hoping that, and maybe y'all can let me know as we go along in here how the quality of this is looking. If you think it looks better than OBS, um, I mean, I know probably what Wes is going to say. Heck yeah, it looks better than OBS. Um, then you just had three more. Damn, buddy, you must you must have a tolerance built up to them because I didn't even know you were supposed to take that many at one time. But I forgot to bring my Mountain Dew in here, so I may need it in a little bit. Can't just drink whiskey all night. That wouldn't be wise. Um, so what was I talking about anyway? Oh, but anyway, I'll try to go through this briefly so we can get to the movies because I'm sure that you guys are really really don't want to listen to me piss and moan about my job situation. Don't gun me and drive. Yeah, definitely Texas. Um, oh, and I missed that one earlier. Texas, you said still waiting for Texas Chainsaw Massacre in space, brother. Hey, Menelect. Um, so what I was going to say before I talked about my shitty last half of the week was unfortunately I heard that early this morning a friend of mine that I graduated from high school with, a really great guy. Um, he's for about the past year and a half, he has had stage 4 esophageal cancer, and they thought that the doctors thought that he would have been gone a long time ago. Like when he was first diagnosed, because when he was diagnosed at stage 4, which is usually not good news. But Dave, he was, and I'm sure he still is a tough guy. And but unfortunately, he passed away at about 12:30 this morning. His wife put something on Facebook, and I did not see it on Facebook for a while until somebody else put something about him passing away, and then I of course went to his Facebook page, and sure enough, it was what a lot of us have been fearing for a while. I guess I just sometimes you're in denial about stuff, no matter how bad somebody is. um, with cancer or whatever. We always like to believe that they're going to get better. And in some cases, people do get better, and then in other cases, they don't. Unfortunately, Dave is no longer with us, and that's been an additional bitter pill to swallow during this whole situation that I find myself in. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. Um, Thank you, Texas, for the condolences. Yeah, he was one of those one in a million guys. Great friend, a good guy to everybody. Um, and he deserves so much better in this world. But oh my gosh, guys, ugh, there was a spider that just crawled across my desk. Oh, damn, I hate spiders. Sorry. Ugh. Yeah, well, I didn't kill him all the way, but ugh, I smashed him. Hold on just a second. Ugh. If y'all haven't if y'all haven't guessed, I have a fear of spiders. I don't like spiders. Snakes, rats, any of that stuff. But this was one of those damn garden spiders that crawled right across my desk. I don't even know where the damn thing come from. Ugh. Ew. I hate them. I just hate them. Even if they're not poisons, I still hate them. There's something about me and spiders. I never have liked spiders. They just ugh, give me the heebie-jeebies. All right. So, yes, so curly jaws I have. I think I'm gonna put. Let's put that. Let's put that one up there. Oh, curly jaws says, "You ever seen the movie Arachnophobia?" And yes, I have, and many other creepy spider movies, Kingdom of the Spiders and all that stuff. And, for all the horror movies I love, um, and for, me, I have a pet snake, I have a pet rat, um, I have lizards as pets. And, usually snakes, rats, things like that give people the heebie jeebies, especially women. But, some men get heebie jeebies too when they think about them. But I've tucked my feet up now because I'm afraid that thing will still be crawling around. I hate to use my Blu ray case, but I was trying to kill the damn thing. Um, oh, oof, ooh, oh, curly jaws. Yeah, that was one pet I never wanted to have was tarantulas. I know some people that they love their tarantulas. But man, I could not have one. Now I feel like that thing's just crawling all over me. I can't stand it. Um, no, Aaron, I don't think we have a spider infestation. But I had to put that up there, Aaron, because it's got the little spider there. Um, but oh, curly jaws, yeah, I'll let you keep your pet tarantulas. Please don't send me one, unless you want it to end up dead, because that might be what happens. I'm just glad the damn thing wasn't any bigger than it was, because when I was living with my parents, there was one of those great big massive spiders one time that was in my bedroom, and I was like, Dad, I was like, Dad, you got to come in here and kill this thing. And Dad brought a shoe in there and it was on the wall right by my bed. And I said, Dad, kill it, kill it, kill it. And of course, Dad slapped the ball and missed one. Uh, please, oh curly jaws, don't even kid me about that, please. I think I would see it though, because I'm seeing myself on camera. But anyway, um, but Wes, you say the lighting looks better on this for sure, Dana. Well, two, I don't have any bright light shining right on me. I know, Wes, you say I don't need the green screen, but I'm probably going to try to incorporate it back into the streams. But this is really a test and an actual stream too. So I'm going to slowly incorporate more things into the stream as I go along. But yeah, now you're laughing, aren't you? But oh god, that thing. I mean, it would have had to done that right in the middle of my stream. I probably looked like such an idiot. Y'all probably thought, "What in the hell is going on?" She's slapping around her desk with her Blu-ray cases. um, so anyway, thank you guys for all the condolences, and I've been really praying for his wife as well, because this is gonna. They just got married not very long ago. They wanted to, because at the time that they got married, Dave wasn't doing so well. Um, so they wanted to, just in case, go ahead and get married. So I know this has got to be terribly hard on her. And I think I just lost a viewer here. We went from 6 to 5. So I don't know if it was talking about death or talking about spiders or what was the deal. But anyways, um, I did, want to talk about the work situation for anybody that I know. Oh, Curly Jaws was, or I'm pretty sure he wasn't in the streams whenever I was talking about it. So I'm going to try to give the quick and dirty version of this, because I'm sure everybody is so sick that has been in these last few streams of hearing about me and my troubles with my job. So, here's the deal. As many of you know, I have had long haul COVID for the past few months. I tested positive for COVID at the beginning of June. Um, and then once the COVID was out of my system, you would think that you would feel better, but it still continues. Still having fever, still having body aches, still having headaches, still having exhaustion. Still having sore throats. The fevers have been the big thing, because the CDC says, plus any doctor with any sense will tell you, if you're running fevers and you can't go without having a fever for 24 hours without some kind of medication, which I have not been able to for the past few months. I've been running fevers most of the day today. I had chills a little bit earlier. I had chills yesterday evening when we were on our way back from seeing Jaws, which I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit before I get to my big stack of movies here. Um, but so I had an agreement. I'm thinking now, maybe I should get all this stuff in writing now, but I kind of do have it in writing, because I have all the correspondence back and forth with me and my supervisor and whatnot. Um, so because of that, the doctor told me that I should not go back to the office. They didn't say, well, you could make a decision whether you can go back to the office. They said, no, they said, you should not go back to the office. And so I was, not only do I feel shitty some days and not feel like getting up, going out there, standing, waiting for the bus, walking the last mile or so I mean, maybe it's not a mile, half mile or whatever, to work. For so sue me, well, don't really sue me, but forgive me for, seeming to take advantage of that because number one, I want to protect people at the office. We have older people that work in that office. We have people with compromised immune systems in the office. There's another girl with diabetes, just like I have, which the doctor told me my diabetes could be very well why I'm holding on to all these symptoms long after the COVID has left my body. If they were to test me for COVID now, it wouldn't show up, but I still continue to have the symptoms. It is a real thing. All you got to do is check long COVID or long haul COVID on the CDC site. You will find it. So it is it is a real thing. So I had an agreement with my supervisor, with my manager, and with an individual in HR. This is all in writing that I have the correspondence back and forth that I had with all of them. And it was told to me that if I bring a doctor's note in or send a doctor's note to them every month, that was my manager's preference, and I could continue to work from home. Okay. So perhaps this is my mistake, but I discovered while I've been working from home because of the long haul COVID, how more relaxed, how much more productive, etc. I am with getting tickets done. I don't feel intimidated at all. There's not the hustle and bustle that's going on in the office. So Dana got the genius idea that I would ask for reasonable accommodations for a disability, which anxiety, panic attacks, depression, and even long haul COVID are considered disabilities. And if you don't believe me, go to the ADA site, check it out. It's true. Even my diabetes is considered a disability. So I ask HR because I asked HR initially, how do I go about doing this? And they were very nice at first. They said, you send us your request for accommodations, we review it, we give you paperwork for you to fill out part of it, to take to your doctor, and they fill out part of it. I did everything they asked. I dotted my I's, I crossed my T's. I made special appointments with both my psychiatric nurse practitioner and my therapist to get this paperwork filled out. While the psychiatric nurse practitioner was helping me fill out the paperwork or her part of the paperwork, she did say, Dana, I am concerned that under the essential duties, one of the essential duties is that you need to go to different locations to relocate equipment, to maybe take equipment to them, to fix things at different locations. I said, that is fine with me. That is not where the panic attacks and all that stuff are coming into play. X-ray, you say anywhere you go, there's one constant guarantee: HR sucks dick. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm discovering that now a little too late. X-ray. So I told the psychiatric nurse practitioner, I said, it's okay if you want to put that in the paperwork. That is not a problem for me. That's not an everyday thing around there. Every once in a while, we'll have a big move where we've got to move a lot of equipment. And so it's kind of like all hands on deck. I said, I'm fine with that. If they tell me, hey, Dana, we need you to either come in the office and go with so and so to, or several so and so's to this location to move equipment around, hook some stuff up, do whatever, I'm there. I'm Johnny on the spot. I will do it. I will either meet them at that location or I will ride over with someone that is already going over there. Here's the thing: whenever I interviewed for this job, during the phone interview, I was upfront with the supervisor. I said, I do not drive. There was nowhere on the application that you had to have a driver's license. And I was upfront with her. I said, I do not drive. I said, but if you let me know that the next day that I need to be at this location at this time, I will be there. And I still would make good on that. Um, and I said, or, I could ride over with somebody if this is going to be a big job that's going to take several of us to do. Um, I said I would do either. And there were several times when I first started work for Stockyards that my supervisor would say, "Hey, Dana, do you want to make a run out to so and so somewhere?" Um, yeah, sure. I never said no, that I would not do this. And so I had psychiatric nurse practitioner, put a little asterisk and put that in there. And that was really the only essential job duty that uh, could not be performed from home, literally. Okay. So, I get all this filled out. I talked to my therapist as well, and she agreed to do a supplemental letter for me to send in later. I said, that's great. As long as I have it by September 9th, that's fine. So I sent all that stuff in, um, and I was not expecting them to get back with me that quickly, but they did the next day. One of the other ladies from HR called me and she said, there's been a meeting with your supervisor, with me, and the head of HR. I'm like, okay. And first, they tried to lay all the blame on my supervisor, like she made all these decisions. It turned out later that, as they said, it was a collaborative thing. So they tried to make out like she was concerned that I would not be able to do location moves, move equipment, different things like that. Again, I explained. I said it's all in my paperwork. I never said that I would not do that. Um, so she just, oh, uh-huh. I just acted like she didn't hear me. Oh, great, Darren. I'm going to put that comment up there. Because Darren says, hey, Dana, stream looking good. Okay. So, so again, it was like I was talking to a brick wall or something. It's like something wasn't getting through. So I guess because I had an answer to her question about that, they started bringing up, again, they tried to put this all on my supervisor at first. They said that my supervisor was concerned that I needed more training, more development. And in order to do that, I needed to be on site around my supervisor, around my manager, around the other people on the help desk. And I explained, I said, I'm in constant contact with them. I can be in contact with them by phone. I can be in contact with them through Teams chat. Um, but I didn't really get that. And so Aaron's saying the stream looks good too. So I'm just gonna brag on myself here. Uh Aaron says stream does look really good. Not sure if it's lighting or StreamYard, but something. Well, if you ask Wes, Aaron, it's probably a case of one, I don't have my green screen, which Wes says I don't need. I don't have this light turned directly towards my face like I normally do because I'm not using the green screen. And heck, with StreamYard, I might not even have to do that. But so yeah, I mean, it's looking good on my end. It's looking pretty crystal clear from what I'm looking at. So I'm glad it's looking that way on y'all's side too. Um, so then I guess they weren't getting anywhere with that. And dummy me brought up the fact that, because guys, we get a spreadsheet at the beginning of every month that shows all the tickets that were completed by everyone on the help desk the previous month. Okay, or actually open. Mine, I try to make sure they're all completed and closed. Not everybody does that. There's people every month that have 20 or 30 tickets that they haven't closed. So that should be in a whole different category, but whatever. So I said, since I've been working from home, I have noticed my productivity is went through the roof. When I was working in the office, I was doing a handful of tickets. Now I'm doing 300 or more, or close to 300. Um, hey, Dirk, you say all good here, Dana? Awesome. I'm going to try to show some of everybody's comments. So y'all keep commenting in there. um, so I guess they got kind of pissed at me saying that, or didn't like me saying that, didn't like me noticing it, whatever. But they basically told me I was underperforming behind everyone else on the help desk, and I was simply going to have to come back into the office. And so my response was, even though I was angry, I tried to stay calm and professional and all of that. And so I said, well, I said, I don't agree with that, because I have looked at the time spent on tickets. We have a little widget in the ticketing system that was created by my supervisor, where I am lacking in the number of tickets. I'm more than making up with it in time. And so I said I didn't agree with the assessment that I was underperforming behind everyone else. Um, yes, Dirk, I am using StreamYard. This is kind of like my test stream to see how everything works. I still haven't got all my stuff into here, but I hope to be able to in subsequent streams. So, yeah, I'm glad you guys are excited about that. And I swear we're going to get to the movies just as soon as I finish talking about why really I'm having this stream, because I had a really shitty week the end of last week. But so anyway, see, that's part of brain fog is something else I've noticed in about the last month that has gotten worse. That's also part of long haul COVID, unfortunately. I lose my train of thought completely. Some of that could be stress and stuff like that too. But so I also told her that this is not how I thought that this was going to go. I mean, the only options they gave me, they said I simply could not continue to work from home. They told me that here's the two options we can offer you. Your supervisor has offered to switch cubicles with you. Okay. Okay. Let me see if I can explain this to you guys. My cubicle's here. There's another guy's cubicle behind mine, then my supervisor's cubicle. It's not isolated. I'd just be moving one cubicle back. How is that going to help me with what I've been telling them? The other option they offer me, which was even more ridiculous than moving the cubicle, if that's possible, was noise canceling headphones. I work on a help desk. I have to be listening for the phone. People may call me directly on my extension. I cannot be sitting there with noise canceling headphones on going la 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 and not paying attention. That'll go over like a lead balloon, won't it? So I don't know how they thought either or both of those things was going to help with the problem at hand. Okay. So I finally just told her, I said, well, I said, I've still got to work from home. And I maybe shouldn't have said this, but I was really upset by then. And I wanted to make it known that I have not been working, sitting at home, working from home, being insubordinate and just waiting for this paperwork to come through in my favor. I said, I have been diagnosed with long haul COVID. I am having continuing fevers. I said, and there was an agreement between me and someone in HR and my manager and supervisor that if I send one note every month that I have to work from home. That was their preference, and it would be fine. I was also told, although should have told them at this time, but I wasn't thinking about it. I was also told, and I have this in writing or digital type or whatever you want to call it, from my supervisor that says, no worries, Dana, you can work from home as long as you need to. So now I guess they're PO'd at me because I tried to get reasonable accommodations and I didn't want to take their lousy accommodations. Okay. So now the head of HR has gotten involved, and instead of going through that entire email back and forth that she and I had, the crux of it is she said that she says, Dana, we expect you back in the office on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. If you are unable to return to the office, you must take leave, which means they won't let me work from home. It's either come into the office or take leave. No other options at all. So, of course, I emailed her back, but I'm going to have to wait until tomorrow to be able to figure out what she says about this now, because I told her, I said, I cannot return to the office. I have long haul COVID. And I tried to explain, and they have also told my supervisor that she is not to discuss any of this stuff with me. If I bring questions to her, she is to direct me to HR. My supervisor told me it's basically in HR's hands now. So they fucked me. So I have another note from the doctor because I went on and saw the doctor over the weekend. Got another note. They were concerned about the doctor was concerned about giving me one for a month because they thought that HR wouldn't accept it. So they did me one for 3 weeks, which is fine. But if they're not going to let me work from home, and when I run out of leave, I guess either one of 3 things is going to happen. I'm either going to have to come back into work and risk myself getting worse health wise. I'm going to put other people at risk in the office of getting sick, possibly dying. I'm putting myself at risk for having some kind of major panic attack. Or they can consider me insubordinate if I say, hey, I can't come back because of these things that I told you, especially the long haul COVID. And I guess they could fire me technically. So none of the things are really going to be good. So that is why Dana has been looking for another job. I preferably want one that's full-time remote, but I'm also looking at possibly going back to the library. I tried applying for one of the clerk positions they had, but this one must have unfortunately been for Maine because they needed somebody to drive the bookmobile. Hence, you needed a driver's license. So I guess I'm going to have to wait until another clerk job comes open. If the one of the remote jobs doesn't pan out that I've applied for. I've already applied for about 10 or 15 of them. So that is why I'm doing this stream tonight, because I had a really shitty last half to my week. It carried over into my weekend. They completely ruined my holiday weekend. I was so looking forward to this 3-day weekend and seeing Jaws with Steve and doing all that. And Saturday I was so upset that I went to the doctor for my appointment and came back home and curled up in the bed and just laid there because I was so devastated at the way that I'd been treated, the things that they had told me, and there was no give at all on things, and I literally didn't know what I was going to do. And So I didn't eat for most of the day. And you guys know, being diabetic, that is not a wise thing to do. But I was so depressed and so devastated. I just, all I wanted to do was go to sleep. I didn't want to think about it anymore. So not only have the idiots uh, caused some more issues with me as far as work, but they've worsened my health status because of getting me so upset over this. So I will be hope having a free consultation with a lawyer to see if I have a case that I can bring against them. I was afraid that they'd wipe out all this email correspondence back and forth. So Steve told me to forward it to my personal email, and he said that way they won't be able to get their hands on it. So that's what I did. So now all that stuff's in my hands. So if they try to go in there or have someone in IT go in there and blank out my email, I've still got it to show to an attorney if need be. So yeah, Steve finally got me to eat and finally got me to get up, and he had gotten me a slushie and all that stuff. And I know you guys really didn't need to hear about 45 minutes of me talking about my troubles, but um, again, I consider you guys friends, and we've got 9 people in here right now, and I hope I didn't lose anybody by blabbering on like an idiot about things that are going on in my life. But um, if you didn't figure it out by the description for the advertising for the stream, and by the lovely pictures of the dogs on the advertising for the stream, we're going to be talking about bad movies tonight. But these are bad movies. Okay, so it's a mix and match. I will tell you this before we get into them, because you're probably going to think, well, Dana, geez, that's not a bad movie. Okay, so some of them are taken from lists of bad movies, or maybe so bad they're good. Or I think there was one list, horror movies so bad Jason Voorhees would be ashamed. Um, oh yes, the Jaw screening. I'm gonna put this up here. Darren's asking how the Jaw screening was, and I'm sure Dirk probably wants to know how the Jaw screening was too. Um, Okay. Here's the deal about that. I mean, we had a very good time. I think Steve had a better time than he thought he was going to watching it. But I was under the impression that all of the screenings were in 3D because that's how it looked when I got my digital tickets. Um, so, big dummy me went in there, had the QR codes scanned for our tickets, and I got our popcorn, drinks, stuff like that. And then they printed us out paper tickets after they scanned that QR code. And so we took those to the guy taking the tickets, and I noticed he had a box of those 3D glasses beside him. And I said, "Don't we get 3D glasses?" He said, "This showing doesn't have 3D glasses." I was like, "Ah, shit." Because that was one of the things that got Steve kind of interested in going. Before then, he wasn't too interested in going. So either they did not have that on there whenever I bought the tickets early, or I didn't scroll down far enough to see the one that said real 3D. So unfortunately, we did not end up watching it in 3D, but we did get to see Jaws on the big screen, and I absolutely loved it. I loved it. I can, that's something I can scratch off my bucket list now. And you guys can laugh if you want to. Um, but there are certain movies that I always had dreams of seeing on the big screen. And Jaws is one of them because Jaws is a classic, in my opinion. Now, old Curly Jaws might say it's overrated. I'm just waiting for him to say it's overrated. Um, but I really had a good time. Uh, I think Steve had a better time than he thought he was going to. Um, it kept my mind off my troubles for a couple of hours or so. And I think it was, actually just what I needed. So, Darren, it was a very good experience. Now I'm looking to the forward to that Dawn of the Dead in 3D, which I think at least all the showings in New Albany where we're going to see it are going to be in 3D. So I don't think I'm going to run into that this time. All right, I got to put Wes's thing up here. Wes says StreamYard beats OBS, and that's the bottom line. Well, you may have converted me, Wes. So, see, they need to start giving you commission or something, or you need to be their advertising man or something to that effect. These daggone fruit flies are driving me nuts. We almost had them gone, and now they're back again with a vengeance, and they're driving me absolutely bonkers. But even though so far I'm liking StreamYard, I'm still going to keep OBS on the computer because there may be some cases where I just want to go back and use it one night. I think I hear Brandon coming. Poor old Brandon. He's been a super picky eater lately, and I swear I'm going to get a fly swatter and get this fly. I know what it's wanting. It's wanting my booze over here. But I just wish we could get rid of them. I really do. Steve keeps spraying this stuff that's supposed to kill fruit flies. But the thing is, it kills them on contact. And Steve sprays that shit all over everything. And every morning I get up, it's all over the kitchen floor. It's on the cabinets. It's on the countertop. And he thinks he can just leave it all over everything because it says it's safe around children and pets. Texas. Oh, I gotta put this up there. You say, did Jaws have that new scene where Quint does the spider walk? Oh, whoops. Nah, Quint didn't do a spider walk, unfortunately. But it was a great experience going to see Jaws, and there's a few other movies gosh, these things are driving me nuts. Please, guys, hope you never get fruit flies because you think house flies are annoying. These suckers are even more annoying than the house flies. I would like to be able to sit here and eat something or drink something or eat or drink something back in the living room watching a movie without these things swarming my head all the time. And you guys can probably see them on camera because they're swarming right in front of my damn face. So, okay. Totally lost my train of thought. And this thing is it's attracted to the light too around here is what it's doing. So I may have to leave my little shot glass in the kitchen for a little bit. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take another sip of this. And I'm going to turn it upside down on a paper towel in the kitchen. And I may go back and get some later, but not now. I actually really wanted to have a donut because a donut sounds good right now. But that's going to draw those damn things too. So anyway, now that I've been talking for about 53 minutes straight, excuse me, I'm going to get to the movies. But like I was saying, some of the movies in this are going to be so bad they're good. Some of them are going to be so bad they're just bad, but I enjoy them. And some of them are actually taken from a list of movies that were expected to be bad, but they turned out to be pretty decent. So that's why I say we're going to have a mix and match of movies. And if you guys like this, I may try to do another one of these at some point in time. But I hope that things improve for me where I was just like, what the hell? I have to take off tomorrow because they said either come into the office or take leave. So I chose to take leave. And so, again, y'all's misfortune or my misfortune is y'all's gain in this case. I do want to remind everybody that tomorrow night I will be doing the second installment of Argento versus Fulci. Again, let me remind you of the movies that we're going to be talking about. Week 2 Argento movies is going to be Inferno, Tenebrae, Phenomena, Opera, and Two Evil Eyes. The Fulci movies for week 2 are The Beyond, House by the Cemetery, New York Ripper, Manhattan Baby, and Murder Rock. And we're going to do just like we did with the first one. The first one on the list for Argento is going to be compared with the first one on the list for Fulci. And we're just going to go down the list comparing those two. And I guarantee it's going to be tough on a few of those, being able to pick the one that's the best. And we already had a little bit of this discussion before. Wednesday, of course, will be Cheese Extreme Wednesday. And I have a couple of movies lined up for that. So you can look forward to that. So, like, tonight we're having a stream. Tuesday night we're having a stream. Wednesday night we're having a stream. So we'll see what Thursday brings and Friday brings. I'm not sure about Friday if I'll be able to do anything at all because we have a busy day that day. I had originally planned to take half a day off, but if they won't let me work unless I'm working in the office, then I may end up taking the whole day off. In which case, I can help Steve with some different things. Brandon, our old man Basset Hound, he's supposed to go for a dental appointment. Steve's class reunion is that evening. So we got a big day that day and a big afternoon. So with all of that being said, I did want to say I have come up with an idea for a watch along for this coming weekend. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing it on Saturday or Sunday. It depends on how early we get back from Horror Hound. We are planning on going to Horror Hound on Saturday. So, depending on if we get back early enough, I may do it on Saturday. If not, I will do it on Sunday. But we are going to have a watch along for Evil Laugh. So you guys can look forward to that as well. So, with all of that being said, we're going to get into the movies now. You're probably thinking, geez Louise, finally, Dana, finally. And speaking of Jaws, we're going to start out with some Jaws movies. And the first one I want to talk about is Jaws 3 or Jaws 3D, depending on how you guys may have seen it the first time around. I did not, unfortunately, get to see it in the theater in 3D. I did many years later. I got something called LCD shutter glasses. These things, I don't even know if they're still around. But when they were around, they were about the price of a new computer. They were about $1,000. And so silly me, and I've still got them somewhere. Silly me, I purchased some of these. And basically you hooked them to your TV or your VCR or your DVD player or whatever. And you would get these things called either... If they were put out in 3D originally, they had to be produced in a certain way, and then you could watch them with the LCD shutter glasses, which is a lot different than the red and the blue glasses. Um, so I was able to watch Jaws 3D that way. I watched Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D that way. Silent Madness was another one I watched. And then there were a few movies that they made in something called Living 3D, which gave complete depth to the whole movie. It was really cool. So they did that with Evil Dead for one, and I got that one. And these are kind of like homemade type of things. They almost look like bootleg jobbies, but it was really cool watching something like The Evil Dead that way with so much depth to it. And I tried to get Steve turned on to the LCD shutter glasses at the time, and he's like, "No, I don't want to wear these. These are too heavy on my head, or whatever." So Darren, you say, let's show this comment. Darren says Jaws 3D I find the worst of the series. I know technically it's better than Jaws or Revenge, but the latter entertains me. Okay, gotcha. Um, and I will say that I believe I must like Jaws 3 a little bit better than Darren does. Because I don't think it's the worst of the series. I will say that some of the acting's a little subpar in this one. Um, and there's a few goofy, extra goofy scenes, not just comedic scenes, but goofy scenes in this. I mean, you've got a water park basically being set upon by a giant shark. And Dennis Quaid, those stars in this. Louis Gossett Jr. is in this movie. Um, and believe it or not, Richard Matheson co-authored the screenplay with Carl Gottlieb. I had totally forgotten about that. It was directed by Joe Alves. This came out in 1983. I think the big push with this movie was the 3D, actually. So I'm going to give you a little bit of plot. We're not going to spend too much time on the plot for this movie, but the most famous shark of all time is back, bigger and more terrifying than ever in Jaws 3, starring Dennis Quaid, Bess Armstrong, Simon McCorkindale, and Louis Gossett Jr. Everyone at Florida's SeaWorld is thrilled with the new undersea kingdom, a maze of underwater plexiglass tunnels that permits visitors to get closer to marine life than ever before. The opening ceremonies include many important guests and one uninvited baby shark who accidentally enters the park's lagoon through a faulty sea gate and subsequently dies. The young shark's 35-foot mother soon follows her offspring, creating the most horrifying tale of terror ever filmed in the water. Which I would kind of disagree with that, because wouldn't we say that Jaws was the one that did that? Directed by Joe Alves, the original Jaws designer, and co-written by Carl Gottlieb, who penned the first two blockbusters, this action-packed adventure will have you screaming for your life. Yes, Robert Long, Dennis Quaid was in it. We'll put that up there. He most certainly was. Dennis Quaid's character is actually one of Chief Brody's sons grown up. I believe, if I'm thinking right, and y'all feel free to disagree with me or correct me, but I believe it's Michael is the one, the older of the two brothers that Dennis Quaid plays. I honestly don't think this is a bad little movie, with or without the 3D. I mean, like I said, I'm sure that the 3D was the thing that got the butts in the seats when this actually came out, because 3D was kind of king then. And then it kind of just fizzled out for a while. And 3D has tried to make it kind of limped along for a little bit and then went out of sight, and then came back on and off in the last few years as just kind of like a novelty type thing. But I don't think it's ever reached the height it did back in its glory days, even with these little bells and whistles of 3D added to certain films. I didn't know that Dennis Quaid took coke, but that's interesting. We'll put this up there. Texas Texas says, Dennis, I was on coke the whole time Quaid. Okay. So yeah, although I can't agree totally with Darren that it's the worst of the series. Um, I will say it's not the best of the series, but for some reason, I find it enjoyable. Like I said, even with or without the 3D aspect, I find it enjoyable. Yes, Leah Thompson is in this. Isn't she one of the water skiers, Robert Long? I believe she is. Um, Anyway, I'm pretty sure she was. Um, because while I was sitting here talking, I was thinking that Leah Thompson was in it. So would I recommend that you buy it on Blu-ray? Yes, I would if it was cheap enough. And you don't mind a little cheese with your shark movies. I'll just say that. But as evident by what Darren just said, um, it's not for everybody. So if you're not sure about it, I would say try to watch it for free first before you commit to. And I would say that about any movie. Even if it was a movie that I was pretty daggone sure that everybody and their mother was going to like, I would still say before you plunk down that hard earned money, see if you can watch it for free if you don't already own it. So that is Jaws 3. The next one I'm going to talk about is the one that Darren says entertains him, and that is Jaws the Revenge. There's a lot of hate for Jaws the Revenge. I'm not really sure why, because it's definitely not my favorite of the series. If they had just made one Jaws movie, the classic Spielberg directed Jaws, um, it wouldn't have hurt my feelings. But being as they did make sequels to it, I tried to enjoy something about each one of those sequels. Um, Robert Long, you say, I remember they used to play it all the time on USA Network. Um, so with this one, I believe they're in Jamaica. Um, and Lorraine Gary returns as Ellen Brody. Chief Brody has sadly passed away in the interim. So she's widowed and she has a relationship with Michael Caine's character in this. Um, this is produced and directed by Joseph Sargent. Lorraine Gary, as I said, is in this. Lance Guest um, plays her son. Uh, And Mario Van Peebles is in this, Karen Young, and Michael Caine. So, got a pretty decent cast. Lance Guest, as you might remember, is kind of the romantic interest in Halloween 2 for Laurie Strode. So, this time is personal, is the tagline for Jaws the Revenge, or Jaws 4. Once again, the peace of amity and the lives of the Brody family are shattered by a bloodthirsty shark in Jaws, the Revenge. Lorraine Gary reprises her role as the now widowed Ellen Brody, who finds herself reliving the horrors of the past when a mammoth shark kills her son. Grief-stricken, she travels to the Bahamas to be with her other son, a marine biologist, and his family. There she meets and falls for a carefree airplane pilot, Academy Award winner Michael Caine. Just as she is starting to put her life back together, the nightmare of the past returns when her granddaughter is attacked by an all too familiar great white shark. Determined to end the terror once and for all, Ellen sets out for a showdown to the death. So, yeah, I don't have any hate for this movie. Not my favorite of the series. Of course, that would have to go to the original Jaws. But I never found anything so bad with this movie that I literally could not sit down and watch it. So, yeah, I would recommend Jaws the Revenge if you've never seen it. Seek it out, try to watch it for free if you can. If you do want to purchase it, if it's cheap enough, I would say go for it. It's not a horrible movie by any means. But the thing is, I will say I don't believe Jaws of Revenge has any special features on it, but Jaws 3 does have Jaws 3 in 3D. See Jaws 3 the way it was originally shown in theaters to experience a third dimension in terror. To watch the 3D version of this movie, you need a full HD 3D TV, compatible 3D glasses, a Blu-ray 3D player, PS3, or a PS3 and a high-speed HDMI cable. So as you can see, there are no red and blue glasses in here, which wouldn't be that great at home anyway. Darren, you say Jaws Revenge, I see, is a really good comedy. Yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah. And Darren, you also say, I'm still shocked Michael Caine read the script and said yes. Yeah. Some people might say that Michael Caine was slumming. I read some review that said at least Michael Caine got a great new house out of the deal. So that is Jaws 3. And sorry, guys, this cough's coming on me too. Just 1 second, please. I'm realizing I can't just sit back here and drink booze all night. And I'm going to get my feet back up in this chair in case that spider starts crawling around on the floor. Do not want it crawling up my leg. Moving right along, and this one was on one of the lists, and I truly can't remember which one of the lists it was on. And some of you may think, this isn't a bad movie, Dan. What are you talking about? Well, I didn't really understand it either, but maybe some people do consider it a bad movie or so bad it's good. If anything, if I was going to call it bad, I would say so bad it's good. But I've always loved this one, always enjoyed it. Return of the Living Dead. And this is sentimental for me now that Clue Gulager passed away recently. Um, and I really meant to go back and rewatch this here in, the last few weeks or so, and I did not get around to it. Um, I did meet Tom Matthews at a convention not very long ago, and he signed a Return of the Living Dead artwork that I want to say Joel Robinson did, and he signed it for me. I think he said, "Dana, if you love me, you'll let me eat your brains," which is a great line that he says to his girlfriend after he starts turning into the zombie. Uh, so, Return of the Living Dead, I have a great history with this movie. It was always so much fun. I mean, down to the soundtrack, the acting, the comedy slash horror stuff. I don't know. I cannot find anything bad to say about this movie, literally. Um, so this is, there's Scream Factory's taken a lot of flack lately for having greasy discs and cases and other unsavory things that they've done. But they did put out this Return of the Living Dead Blu-ray, which I like a lot, sadly. So Film Threat called this a fresh and immensely entertaining take on the zombie genre. I would totally agree with that. So, a little bit on the plot. A fiendish mix of outrageous humor and heart-stopping terror. Return to the Living Dead is a veritable smorgasbord of fun. The LA Herald Examiner said that. On his first day on the job at a medical supply warehouse, poor Freddie, played by Tom Matthews, unwittingly releases toxic gas from a secret U.S. military canister, unleashing an unbelievable terror. The gas reanimates an army of corpses who rise from their graves with a ravenous hunger for human brains. And luckily for those carnivorous cadavers, there is a group of partying teens nearby just waiting to be eaten. And one of those is Linnea Quigley, who, for you guys, gets naked and starts dancing on a tombstone, literally. And the only thing covering her nether regions is some kind of cod piece that they had her put on. But she's literally supposed to be dancing naked. Um, Darren, you say, didn't George Romero say he didn't like Return of the Living Dead in the Dead Pit interview? Or maybe I heard it elsewhere. It seems like I may have heard him say that, Darren, but I can't. Maybe Wes can answer to that. I can't remember if that was in a Dead Pit interview or not. But I don't even know if Wes is still in here. We got 10 people in here. So, Wes, if you heard that, um, maybe you can answer to whether Romero said that during a Dead Pit interview. Darren, you say, I rented this back in 1987, copied it, and played the hell out of that tape. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the first time I saw this was actually on VHS, and I've been a huge fan of it ever since. Um, I even like Return of the Living Dead too, which kind of has some of the same people in it, and kind of mixes up the story just a tad. But if I had to say which of the two was my favorite, it would, of course, be this original Return of the Living Dead. Um, so, yeah, I think I don't remember if that was one I copied. I did copy a lot of VHS back in the day, as I'm sure many of you did. Um, but again, I can find absolutely nothing to dislike about this film. Um, you have all the punks, including Linnea Quigley's character of Trash. Um, you have um, you have Clu Gulager on here. You have James Cairn. You have Don Calfa. I mean, yeah, and directed by Dan O'Bannon. Um, and here's another little funny tidbit. And I discovered this before I was living in Louisville. I discovered this a long time before I was even Louisville. Living in Louisville was even a twinkle in my mind's eye. I didn't know Steve. I didn't know the Dead Pit Boys. I didn't know any of that bunch way back when I first started watching this thing. Um, but if you've watched this even once, you probably realize that at the end, when they think that they're going to have to blow up this town or put a nuclear bomb on this town, where the zombies are running rampant, guess what the town is, or the town's supposed to be, is Louisville, Kentucky. They are going to blow up Louisville, Kentucky. And I laugh like I haven't laughed in a long time every time I see that. And sometimes when I'm feeling a little bit peeved at this town, sometimes I like to put in Return of the Living Dead and watch them get ready to explode Louisville at the end of the movie. Um, yes, Darren, it probably is one of the best examples of comedy horror. Hey, McHar, you actually want to know, am I getting the 4K? Yes, I actually have the 4K pre-ordered. So yes, I will be getting it. And Darren, I'm gonna put yours up here too, because it is probably one of the best examples of comedy horror, in my opinion. Um, so again, I'm gonna try not to go into overkill or overdrive with some of these movies. But I did want to tell you about the special features for it. This is a 2 disc version. So disc one has a new 2K scan of the inner positive, new audio commentary with Gary Smart, co-author of The Complete History of the Return of the Living Dead, and Chris Griffiths, new audio commentary with actors Tom Matthews, John Philbin, and makeup effects artist Tony Gardner. John Philbin, actually, who plays one of the punks, is also I believe his name is Amos in Children of the Corn. He's the one that's carving into his chest, and he's getting ready for his birthday and his passage, and he's going to go to He Who Walks Behind the Rose. That is John Philbin. Audio commentary with director Dan O'Bannon and production designer William Stout. Audio commentary with the cast and crew. The Decade of Darkness, a featurette on 80s horror films. Theatrical trailers, TV spots, still galleries, zombie subtitles for the film. In their own words, the zombies speak. Disc 2 has new The FX of the Living Dead, new Party Time, the music of Return of the Living Dead, new Horror's Hallowed Grounds, revisiting the locations of the film, the Return of the Living Dead work print, More Brains, which I love. This is a great documentary. More Brains, A Return to the Living Dead, the definitive documentary, a conversation with Dan O'Bannon, his final interview, The Origins of the Living Dead, an interview with John A. Russo, The Return of the Living Dead, The Dead Have Risen, and Designing the Dead. Yeah, Wes says he's holding out for the second Sight 4K, which um, I've got the other one pre-ordered, but I hate to sound like I'm going to get a little greedy here, but I may get both of them. And Steve will, of course, say I'm crazy. He'll probably say, if you're going to be in flux and maybe possibly be without job for a little while, you better slow your roll on getting some of those 4Ks. But yeah, Wes, thank you for bringing that up because I had almost forgotten about the second sight 4K. But anyway, that is Return of the Living Dead. I highly, highly recommend this one. Again, if you're kind of on the fence about, if you're thinking about getting one of the 4Ks, but you don't really know if you want to spend that money, definitely try to watch this for free somewhere. I'm not sure if it's on Tubi. It might be, could possibly be on YouTube. Or, if you've got a buddy that's got a copy of it that they'll let you borrow, it might be a good idea to watch that, watch this film beforehand. And before I stop talking about this, I did want to talk about this dude here. Talking about some of the favorite characters. I love Tarman. Tarman is great, and I eagerly await his appearance every time I watch Return of the Living Dead because I think his entrance in the movie is so epic. It's quick, but it's epic. He comes out of this, I think one of the canisters or something, and he just goes, brains. And I don't know, there is something just so much fun about that and many other aspects of this movie. When some of the dead are first coming out of the ground near the beginning of the film, when the rain is falling, that's got the whatever that stuff is called, that the stuff that comes out of the canister, it comes down in the rain and then it gets in the soil and the dead come back to life. And when one of those is coming out of the cemetery, like out of the ground, that song, do you want a party? I can't sing, guys, but that just kickstarts this movie into high gear when that happens. And yes, Darren, the soundtrack is definitely amazing. And Aaron can tell you that way back when, the first time that I met them in person, was at a Fright Night Film Fest in '09. And that weekend was Aaron or Uncle Bill's birthday. 45 Grave, exactly right, Texas. I'll put that up there in case somebody didn't know. But I got Aaron some gifts for his birthday that year, and I believe, and if Aaron's still in here, he can feel free to correct me, that I gave it to him in a different time, different location. But I thought no, I guess it wasn't Return of the Living Dead. That was Savage Streets, wasn't it? Shoot. Totally different soundtrack. But another amazing soundtrack. So sadly, Return of the Living Dead's not what I got him, but I did get him the Savage Streets record. You can ask Aaron all about that, because I wanted to get him a Savage Streets poster and was not able to get him a Savage Streets poster. So I got him what I thought was the next best thing and got him the album. Because Linda Blair was there at Fright Night that year. Macari, you say, I wonder if Scream Factory will release Cat's Eye, since the second sight one has a yellow filter on it, like the cat pissed on the negative. I don't know. I have no idea, Macari, really, on that one. So moving right along, and I think all of us, or nearly all of us in here, will agree that the next one I'm getting ready to talk about is a bad film. But boy, is this one entertaining. And that is Troll 2. I think both Wes and Aaron will totally agree with me on this. This is the 20th anniversary Neil Bog edition that came out several years back. And what's not to like about Troll 2? You have the father getting angry with the little boy for peeing on the dinner because he knows that the corn is not good for them to eat. And the father saying, "You can't piss on hospitality." Where else in what other movie can you hear that line uttered by someone? Nowhere. But Troll 2. Um, Now, this actually said it's directed by Drago Floyd, but is this the movie? Wes, you can let me know. Is this Claudio Fragrasso or is it one of those other Italian dudes? I'm pretty sure this Drago Floyd is a pseudonym or some kind of fake name. Um, but I do believe that Dead Pit, once upon a time, did a commentary for this one, and it was very hilarious, as most of their commentaries, if not all of their commentaries, are. Uh, so let me give you a um, short and sweet plot synopsis. Darren says, "I enjoy Troll 2, but I'm in the minority, and I like the original better." It's Fragasso. Okay. So those greedy goblins are back and hungrier than ever, and this gourmet gross out. I think, didn't John Carl Beekler do the original one? Disguised as friendly country folk, a pugnacious posse of people-eating trolls lures visitors to their town, but a family of four is about to discover this place is a real tourist trap, and they're the prey. Now the no good gnomes must be destroyed before the family gets flambéed and the world becomes a buffet in this feeding frenzy of fear. I don't know why they have to put all these things in here that sound like tongue twisters. um, but I honestly, I think this was one of the movies that I had not had the pleasure of watching till I heard about it on the Dead Pit podcast or radio show. Sorry. Um, and once I heard about it, I was like, man, I got to watch this movie. Now, one of their other favorites, Madman, was I had watched it a few years before I even knew what Dead Pit was. So that one I was familiar with beforehand. Darren, you say John Carl Beekler wanted to do a remake of Troll. Gotcha. Okay. So this does well, it does not really have any special features that I'm seeing on here. This is the MGM Metro Goldwyn Mayer version. I'm not seeing any special features. Now, y'all feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. It is only PG-13. So you're not going to see a lot of sex and nudity and naughty words and copious amounts of blood and all that. But it's still fun, I think. Um, but I do like what Darren said, though, that he enjoys Troll 2, but he's in the minority and like the original better. Well, and I'm sure there are certain people that do like the more serious nature of the original Troll. Yes. Um, I'm glad you brought that up, Darren. I'm going to put that up here. The best worst movie doc is worth watching too. Yes, that is definitely a great documentary. And sometimes these documentaries make these movies seem better than they have any right to. Um, but they're still fun. The documentaries are still fun, just like I think Return of the Living Dead is a better movie than Troll 2, but I love the More Brains documentary. So, that is Troll 2. And I hope I'm not going through these too quickly for you guys, but I did have a lot of them picked. And even though I'm not working tomorrow, um, I do got to get a little bit of sleep. And I know that a lot of you guys, after this 3-day holiday, are going back to work tomorrow. And I don't want to make you too overly tired. I'm burning up back here. I don't know if it's the booze I drink or it's just hot back here or I'm running a higher fever again. May have to get up and check that here in a little bit, but I'm going to try to keep going here for a little while longer. So, we may have differing attitudes about this next one I'm going to show because there's something gross on my. Oh, I thought I heard one of the dogs coming, but anyway, every time I get ready to do one of these, it's like I must have touched these things with something on my hand or something because this has something on it like food, which I should take better care of my movies. But because I will tell you, this is a Stephen King one, that's probably going to give you a key or a clue to what movie this is. But this one has quite a bit of nostalgia for me because this is one that I remember watching growing up. And it's another one I remember sitting around with my dad watching. And Texas, you say, hell, I was on the phone with Blissful last night till 4 a.m. Woo-wee, yeah, you was pulling an all-nighter, wasn't you, Texas? But love, it makes us do crazy things, doesn't it? It's definitely made me do some crazy things. So, what on earth is the movie that I could be talking about? It is none other than Maximum Overdrive. Okay, a lot of people uh, trash this movie. Critics and fans alike trash this movie. Basically, it was the assumption that Stephen King should not, or I guess the final call on this was a lot of people thought that Stephen King should not direct movies of any kind. But I think Maximum Overdrive is fun. It's wacky. It's fun. It has Emilio Estevez in it, bending over a lot with these jeans on. And as you can tell, I had a huge crush on Emilio Estevez in his younger days. So, I think this has a fun cast. I mean, not only do you have Emilio Estevez in this, you have Laura, I think, is it Laura Branigan? Is that it? Laura Harrington, I'm sorry. Laura Branigan is the singer. Laura Harrington, um, John Short, Yeardley Smith. And I love Yeardley Smith. A lot of people may find her annoying with that voice and everything, but I think that makes her so endearing. And her always screaming at John Short in this, Curtis, where are you? Where's my Curtis? And when the car flips upside down and she was like, you're not my Curtis. And she just got on and on about it. And they're having to cut her out of her seatbelt. And her and John Short's character have just gotten married in the movie when the shit hits the fan. And I don't know. This is another one that I cannot find anything that I dislike about it. You have an AC/DC soundtrack in this, which believe it or not, some people didn't like the AC/DC soundtrack. Um, but I did. I thought it fit well with what was going on in the movie. Um, yeah, another one that I literally cannot dislike, even many, many years later. Um, it's still not lost. It's not lost that nostalgia for me, definitely. Yeah, I have heard that Stephen King was pretty much coked up when this was being made. Another movie, another like a book that he doesn't even remember writing, sadly, was Cujo, which is one of my favorite books and one of my favorite King movies or King adaptations. He said he was on so much coke at that time he doesn't even remember writing Cujo. So, boy, did a damn good job though, I think. But yeah, sadly, there for a while, King did have a rather big drug and alcohol problem. Darren, you say, I haven't seen Maximum Overdrive since its original VHS release. Again, that AC/DC soundtrack is awesome. I totally agree, Darren. I totally agree. I mean, it's perfect for this movie. And Stephen King's always been a huge fan of AC/DC. So, granted, he's going to put that into the movie. Okay. Hold on just a second, guys. I don't have my little Evil Dead screen to put up, so y'all just have to see me get up and down. Reggie, you're not going to go out there because I know what you're going to do. No, you need to go sit down. Okay. I thought that was one of the. There was my big face all in there. I need to watch that. Um, Reggie thought he was going to go outside. I thought it was Brandon coming in here to go outside. But Reggie, if he goes out late, the dog next door, if it's on the other side of the fence and barks at him, he goes absolutely batshit crazy and tries to tear the fence apart. So I really don't want that going on right now. So he's laying down. But yes, Darren, I definitely agree that the AC/DC soundtrack is awesome for Maximum Overdrive. Um, Sadly, the Green Goblin face on the front of that truck, that thing's still around, or it was when this Blu-ray came out, but it's in sad need of repair, which is very sad because that was a big thing when I first saw this movie. I thought that was so cool, the Green Goblin face on the truck that for toys. Um, and I think that's also the same truck that hits the pervy Bible salesman in this. Um, but I don't know. I think a lot of it is nostalgia for me. The other part of it is because I'm such a huge Stephen King fan. Um, but I will give you a little bit of plot. Not that I think anybody in here hasn't seen Maximum Overdrive, but just in case you haven't, or somebody is watching this later and they say, "Oh, well, hey, I haven't seen Maximum Overdrive. That sounds pretty cool. Maybe I'll watch it." Um, so get ready for the ultimate battle of man versus bloodthirsty machine in this terrifying Stephen King classic. For 3 horrifying days, the Earth passes through the tail of a mysterious comet. The skies glow an eerie green as humanity waits to see what the fallout will be. But what they imagine is nothing like the nightmare they find. The comet's magnetic fields cause all the machines on Earth to suddenly come to life and terrorize their human creators in a horrific killing spree. Now it's up to a small group of people trapped in a desolate truck stop to defeat the killer machines or be killed by them. Hey, John. John says, hey, all, Maximum Overdrive. Hell yeah, I wore out this Anchor Bay VHS as a kid, or maybe it was Good Times. I forget. Yeah, I mean, I can't even begin to tell you the number of times I watched Maximum Overdrive as a kid. And like I was saying earlier, this is another one that I totally remember enjoying with my dad. I don't think my mom was really that wowed by it. I mean, she would occasionally sit down and watch it with us, but this was another one of those. This is me and my dad. This is a movie for me and my dad, just like Jaws was, just like Dawn of the Dead was. Just there are certain movies that my dad and I, me being a daddy's girl, that we really, really enjoyed watching together. And then when I got older, of course, my mom and I would watch a lot of horror movies together. John, you say, I remember it getting re released mid 90s because that's when I saw it. I saw it actually back in the 80s at some point. I mean, it's not, I didn't go to the movies and see it then. But I did remember sometime later when it was available for rental, and we got it. So let me go over the special features on this Vestron Collectors series. You get audio commentary with writer Tony Magistrale, author of Hollywood, Stephen King. Audio commentary by actor and comedian Jonah Ray and Blumhouse film executive Ryan Turek. Okay, I don't think I've listened to that audio commentary, and I don't think I will, and here's why. And this really has nothing to do with the movies I'm talking about, because I'm not a big fan of Blumhouse or however the heck. And I'm not a big fan, and please don't throw spitballs at me, guys, or throw spitballs at your computer, of Jonah Ray. I have never been a big fan of Jonah Ray. I don't know what the attraction is about him. Um, I know he's lost a bunch of weight, but uh, with more weight on him or less weight on him, I still don't care for the guy. And I honestly don't think he was a good choice to take over Mystery Science Theater. And so I'm glad that this season, the new Mystery Science Theater has a girl on there. And I'm not saying this because I wanted a woman on there. I'm just saying I think she's more fun than Jonah. I mean, I liked Mike, I liked Joel, but I never cared for Jonah. Um, and I'm not saying this because I'm a prude and I think people ought to constantly watch themselves because some kids might see them on something that's not the same as something else they saw them on. But I noticed that I forget which movie it was. I don't know if he was on one of the Victor Crowley, the one of the Hatchet movies, or that Party Bus to Hell, or whatever the way. I don't know. He was on one of these horror movies after, I believe, or just around the time he started doing the new Mystery Science Theaters, which a lot of kids watch. And again, I'm not trying to say censorship or anything like that. I just um, and I'm not saying that Joel and Mike never cussed or did anything like that, but I don't think they did anything exactly like Jonah Ray. Jonah Ray was in this primarily, a lot of kids watch Mystery Science Theater. They always have. But then he turns around and he's in this horror movie where he's saying, fuck this, fuck that. And I'm like, what if, you know, by some reason, some kid watches him in this and is just like, that's not the Jonah. I remember seeing from Mystery Science Theater. I'm not saying it's going to scar them for life. I'm just saying, can't the guy give a little forethought and, okay, I'm in a show that a lot of younger people watch. Then I'm going to be in a horror movie and I'm going to be talking filthy and doing who knows what else. Um, I just think people ought to just put a little thought into things like that. Um, but I don't know. Brandon came in here and went back out. So, John, you say, I was a big AC/DC fan, so my cousin was like, yeah, you should get this. Right. Um, so anyway, those are two reasons why I will never probably listen to that commentary. Also, interviews, truck stop tales. An interview with producer Martha DeLaurentis, Rage Against the Machines, an interview with actress Laura Harrington, Honeymoon Horrors interviews with actor John Short and actress Yeardley Smith. And I highly recommend that one. That is a fun interview with both of them. Maximum Carnage, an interview with makeup effects creator Dean Gates. A Kid in King's Court, an interview with the actor Holter Graham, who plays the young Deke in the movie. The Wilmington Factor, a look back at the filming of Maximum Overdrive with members of the production crew in North Carolina. This was at a time when North Carolina was king when it came to them wanting to make movies there, especially Dino De Laurentiis. He had studios there. And I think they made several Stephen King related adaptations there. Who Made Who, an interview with Murray Englehart, co-author of AC/DC Maximum Rock and Roll. Goblin Resurrectus, the restoration of the Happy Toys Goblin. Behind the scenes footage, still gallery, theatrical trailer, and TV spots. And that, my friends, is Maximum Overdrive. If you have never seen this, I urge you to find a way to see it. Don't necessarily pay for it. See if you can find a free version of it somewhere or borrow it from a friend or family member. But I would highly recommend this. And also, it's another one that I say, if it's been a while since you've seen it, pull that sucker back off the shelf and watch it, because this one is a whole heck of a lot of fun, in my opinion. So, okay, the next one I'm going to show you, I just got the 4K of it in not very long ago. I just watched it just to see how the 4K was, and also as a refresher of the movie itself, before I talked about it tonight. And this was actually on a list of movies that people thought were going to be bad, but actually turned out to be pretty decent movies. Now, I'm going to see what you guys think too. But it is the original Candyman with Tony Todd in the lead role. I will not ever watch that Jordan Peele remake, just because it just doesn't appeal to me. Jordan Peele doesn't appeal to me in this case, or that movie doesn't. I think Steve started watching the remake, but I don't know if he finished it. So, Candyman is one of those urban legend type of films where Candyman is an urban legend, supposedly, which in the case of this movie, the urban legend turns out to be true, and there really is a Candyman. Candyman was a man who was his father was well-to-do, which would have been unusual for African Americans at the time. They're talking about in the 1800s. So his father was well-to-do, sent his son to the best schools and stuff. His son became a painter. A man asked him to paint his daughter and make a portrait. He falls in love with the girl, and they start a passionate love affair. When the father finds out, he sends these men to attack the man who will become Candyman. And they cut off his hand, which is replaced with a hook. And his body smeared with honey or something similar, and he is stung to death by bees. That is one reason, or the big reason why you see bees a lot in this movie. So, Virginia Madsen plays Helen Lyles, I guess she's a graduate student, and her friend Bernadette, I think, or I think that's what her name is. They're planning to do a thesis. They start out, just overall urban legends, and they're hearing stories from different people. But then they hear the Candyman story about if you say his name 5 times in the mirror, he will come out of the mirror and kill you, or appear behind you and kill you with his hook. The girl that comes to Helen and Bernadette, or actually comes to Helen and tells her the story, is actually one of the girls from Hide and Go Shriek, who um, is a girl that looks a lot younger than the rest of the kids that are getting ready to go off to college. Um, and she tells the story, and it has a flashback while she's telling the story. And I love this. They have Ted Raimi actually playing a bad boy in a leather jacket that pulls up outside the house where this girl is babysitting. Even though she's dating someone else, she kind of likes the bad boy image projected by Ted Raimi's character, so she's planning on having sex with him. So she, takes off her top, and she's standing there in her bra, and she looks at him and she says, "Have you heard about Candyman?" And he's like, "No." And so they start doing the Candyman, Candyman, Candyman. And they say it 4 times, and all the while, I'm guessing this is supposed to be a sexy scene, but I guess that's objective. Steve always calls Ted Raimi all bug-eyed and stuff. He wouldn't definitely think of Ted Raimi as a leading man type of guy. Um, Darren, you say Candyman original is probably a little underrated in my opinion. Um, the remake was horrible, really bad. There's a really good Candyman ripoff called I Madman that's worth seeing. But then Darren, you say, "My bad, I Madman came out in 1989." Yeah, I remember I Madman, but that's okay. That's cool. Um, but yeah, I would agree with you, Darren, that this original Candyman probably is a little underrated, more underrated than it should actually be. Um, and I have a feeling that the remake is horrible, and that's why I'm gonna, like any movie that starts out that's supposed to be a horror movie and starts out, and maybe some of you guys might be thinking, "Geez, Louise, Daniel, you're a little damn picky about this," but they play the old Candyman song. And I'm like, "What the hell are you doing? Why are you doing that?" It just was a little hokey in my opinion. And it's not like putting that Jeepers Creepers song in the movie Jeepers Creepers. I'm not a huge fan of Jeepers Creepers, but the first one is okay. But in Jeepers Creepers, you keep hearing that song that plays. That Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those little peepers? It keeps playing that over and over again. But hearing at the beginning of the remake of Candyman, this just totally turned me off. It's like the Candyman can, and it's just it's this sing song thing, and I'm like, what in the hell is this? I don't really know what Jordan Peele's trying to do a lot of the time. I really don't. Um, but Hi, Reggie. Reggie might come up here to see you guys. Oh, there he is. There's my boy. This is my big boy. You want to say hello, Reg? You say hello? Are you shy? Look, there's people. You get nervous. Uh, Everybody says hi to you, Reggie. This is my big old baby here. John says, good doggy. Oh, yeah, you're sleepy. You better go. Well, be careful now. You better go lay down. Go lay down, buddy. Okay. Well, he's okay. You can stay up here for a little bit if you want to. So, anyways, I really like the original Candyman. I think Tony Todd is perfect in this movie. Um, I don't think you could have gotten anybody better for the role of Candyman. Um, I think Virginia Madsen is phenomenal in this as Helen Lyles. I mean, I don't know. For some reason, I was thinking that Clive Barker wasn't a really big fan of this. And this is based on one of his stories called The Forbidden, of which sadly I have not read, but I probably should. So let me give you a little bit of a plot on this. The gut wrenching thriller follows a graduate student whose research summons the spirit of the dead. When Helen Lyle hears about Candyman, a slave spirit with a hook hand who is said to haunt a notorious housing project, and she thinks she has a new twist for her thesis. Braving the gang ridden territory to visit the site, Helen arrogantly assumes Candyman can't really exist until he appears, igniting a string of terrifying, grisly slayings. But the police don't believe in monsters and charge Helen with the crimes. And the only one who can set her free is Candyman. There are a lot of really disturbing scenes, in my opinion, in this movie. When once Candyman actually shows up. And the first one is in the car garage, um, where Candyman essentially makes his first appearance to Helen. And she's so happy. She's just gotten beaten up by these gang members and thought her pictures were destroyed in her camera. And her friend Bernadette just said somebody was that I know at the university was able to retrieve these, and so she's so happy. She's going through these slides of her pictures, and she's kind of holding them up to the light and looking at them. She's smiling, and she's walking to her car. About the time she gets to her car, she hears someone go, Helen. And she's like, yes. And I can't do the really great Tony Todd voice, sadly. Um, but then she thinks, well, maybe it was just the wind or something. So she's getting ready to get in her car and she hears Helen again. And again, I can't do the great Tony Todd voice, but it is so haunting and so creepy. And it basically tells her to be his victim or else he will take someone else. And so he uses Helen essentially as an instrument. Uh, and it's like she goes out of it. And when she comes to, her clothes are bloody. The hook is sometimes with her, and something horrible has happened in each and every case. One time, a girl that she has met, Anne Marie, um, her baby has actually been kidnapped, but there's blood all over the place. There's blood on the walls of her apartment. There's blood on the floor. There's blood on Helen, and Helen doesn't know how the hell she got here in Anne Marie's apartment. The last time she remembers, she was in the car garage and Candyman was talking to her. Okay, or she was looking at slides of her pictures. Also, Anne Marie's dog is beheaded. There's blood from the dog everywhere. It turns out all of that blood is from the dog. and that Candyman has just kidnapped Anne Marie's baby. But Anne Marie thinks that Helen not only killed her dog, but also killed her baby. So she attacks Helen. Helen tries to defend herself and hits Anne Marie in the shoulder with a knife or a um, little machete or something. Um, and then, of course, the cops bust in and take her in. And Rusty Schwimmer, I believe, is the actress that plays the woman cop who's having Helen take her clothes off and slide all those bloody clothes over to her. Um, and at that point, um, the cops are really mean to her because they think she has murdered this woman's baby, and they think that she has killed this woman's dog. They don't believe anything about the Candyman legend. Um, so kind of she's I guess she's released on bond and goes back with her husband, and they have an attorney. And so at first her husband seems to be understanding and things and says this has got to be a misunderstanding. So then the second death is her friend Bernadette. And at this point, they take her to the mental hospital or the psychiatric floor of the regular hospital. And you know, and at that point, we know her husband's pretty much a sleaze. I hate her husband in this movie, Trevor. Um, he's got his eyes on all the hot young chickies in his class at college, and one in particular. And so when Helen is able to break out of the mental hospital, she makes her way back to her and Trevor's apartment. And guess what? She didn't realize, but she's been drugged up on Thorazine or whatever, and she's been in this mental hospital for a while. So while she's in the mental hospital, Trevor's moved a little chickie in with him, and she's already painting over Helen's walls with pink paint. She's got pink furniture. Trevor's in this lavish robe, and he's thinking he's going to get some, hot sex with this young girl tonight. So then Helen shows up, and they're like, you know, and let's see. Darren, you say, hold on just a second here. Darren, said the sequel sucked, in my opinion. People like part two, but I just couldn't get into it. Part three is like a really bad made for TV film. Yeah, I never much liked the sequels either, but I do love the original. Johnny say, I know I've said this before, but I stand by my feeling on Child's Play 1 after rewatching recently. It's a really good first movie. Then they made the sequels. I agree, John. I think probably the last Child's Play sequel that I probably actually liked was part two. But I wouldn't have cared if Child's Play was a one-off and they had never made any sequels. And you say the first one's a solid 8 out of 10 though. Tom Holland knew how to get out at that one. Ha. Yes, I agree. Tom Holland did an excellent job with the first Child's Play. I probably need to, if I could force myself to sit through some of those sequels, and especially the third one. Lord help, I hate the third one of the Child's Play series. Um, but I need to maybe see if I could do a franchise breakdown on that. But so I'm not going to go through the complete movie. I went through a lot of the highlights, and I hope there wasn't anybody in here or anybody that might be watching later that may have part of the movies destroyed for them. Sorry about that. But again, this is the 4K. Yes, it was put out by Screen Factory or Scheme Factory or Shit Factory or whatever it is you guys want to call them. I did get it from Amazon. No greasy disc, no greasy case. The special features on this, you get a new 4K master of the original negative, supervised and approved by writer and director Bernard Rose and director of photography Anthony B. Richmond. 4K master of the original negative with HD inserts for the uncut footage from an archival film print. New Dolby Atmos track, which really sounds good. This movie really looks good in the 4K too. Audio commentary with Bernard Rose and actor Tony Todd. Audio commentary with authors and film historians Stephen Jones and Kim Newman. Audio commentary with Bernard Rose, author and executive producer Clive Barker, producer Alan Powell, and actors Tony Todd, Virginia Madsen, and Cassie Lemons. So there's another audio commentary. There's a ton of audio commentaries on this with Bernard Rose from the Movie Crypt podcast hosted by filmmakers Adam Green and Joe Lynch. Sweets to the Sweet, the Candyman Mythos, featuring interviews with Bernard Rose, Alan Powell, Clive Barker, Virginia Madsen, Tony Todd, and Cassie Lemons. Interviews with Clive Barker, Tony Todd, Virginia Madsen, Cassie Lemons, and DeJuan Guy. The Writing on the Wall, the production design of Candyman. Forbidden Flesh, the makeup effects of Candyman. A Story to Tell, Clive Barker's The Forbidden. An Urban Legend, Unwrapping Candyman. And there you have it, folks. There's Candyman. We dare you to say his name 5 times. Darren, you say Child's Play 3 is awful. I agree. Part 2 is my favorite. I like Curse and the remake, believe it or not. I didn't like the remake, but the show I did like. But I like that, again, that you guys feel comfortable enough that nobody's just going to, if you don't, if you like something or don't like something. I think it's interesting, too, that you like the remake. All right. So the next one I'm going to talk about, I know you guys are going to be on the train with me on this one because this is a bad, 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 bad movie. But it is fun and so freaking hilarious. It is a Christmas movie. I think you guys are all going to know what I'm talking about. Yes, the one, the only Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. Oh, with the amazing Eric Freeman and his amazing eyebrows. And don't forget Garbage Day. I can't do that like him, but it is great. I mean, even before I knew anybody in the circles of people that I know now, I found that very hilarious. I laughed and laughed and laughed at that. And here's the thing. I saw the first Silent Night, Deadly Night, and actually maybe I may have watched them at the same time because here's what happened. Used to, in the early days of VHS and VHS rentals, I saw a lot of video rentals in grocery stores. So my local Bills on the Hill grocery store had a little small VHS rental section. And I went in there one day and saw this movie called Silent Night, Deadly Night. And I also saw its sequel, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, with The Nightmare is About to Begin again. And I'm like, oh, this is great. So I popped Silent Night, Deadly Night in. I watched it and was like, wow, this is sort of creepy. Then I put in Part 2, and then you got Garbage Day. You got Eric Freeman's amazing eyebrows. Two totally different types of films. And then the third one just goes completely crazy. And then, you had 2 or 3 more after that just got further and further away from the whole Silent Night, Deadly Night. They came uncoupled from the Silent Night, Deadly Night train completely. Um, and so, um, let me give you a little bit of plot on this as if you need it. But anyway, it's garbage day. Ricky is being released from a mental hospital. And as you guys know that have seen the first Silent Night, Deadly Night, Ricky was the younger brother of Billy, who dressed in the Santa suit and killed people in Silent Night, Deadly Night. He takes with him the terrifying memory of his brother Billy's death and the memory of Mother Superior who brought about his brother's demise. For Ricky, starting a new life means avenging his brother's death, which sets him on a blind journey of relentless revenge, leading ultimately to Mother Superior. And when he gets to her, not even her faith will be enough to stop Ricky as he follows in the family tradition of Christmas carnage. Another one of the amazingly awful things about Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 is most of this movie is comprised totally of footage from the original film. So if you've never seen Silent Night, Deadly Night, but want to watch Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, never fear, because most of Silent Night, Deadly Night is included in this film. So, um, this movie is how long? How long is this movie? This movie is only, well, they've got plus or minus 88 minutes. So you just think about that. The movie's only 88 minutes long, or around 88 minutes long, and most of it is comprised of footage from Silent Night, Deadly Night, with very little new footage added. So the majority of the movie takes place in the mental hospital. I was never sure if it was a mental hospital or a prison, but it doesn't really matter. It's, he's being incarcerated somewhere. So most of the film takes place in the mental hospital or prison or whatever, where Ricky is telling his tale to a new psychiatrist. And so that's when we start going into the footage taken directly from Silent Night, Deadly Night. Danny said, I did watch part 2 straight after the original and realized I was watching the highlights of part 1 again. Exactly. John, you say Silent Night sequels are wild. I want all of them, but I only have part 1 on Blu-ray. I have part 1 and part 2 on Blu-ray. John, you say they talked fucking Mickey Rooney into part 5. I know. That is crazy. Johnny said, the one with the squirmy worms and centipedes and Clint Howard. Not a fan of that one. Darren, you say, I haven't seen 3 or 4, but I remember not liking the toy maker. Yeah, like I said, part 3 was just so out there that I enjoyed it. But after that, what was it? The Initiation was the 4th one, and maybe the Toy Maker was the 5th one. Was that it, or have I got those reversed? I don't know. I probably won't be watching those again. But yeah, Texas, you say Geppetto or whatever. Exactly. So with that being said, I don't think we really need to go into a deeper plot of Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, just to say, watch it. If you don't watch it for anything else, watch it for Eric Freeman's amazing eyebrows and watch it for Garbage Day. You will not regret it, I promise you. So this does have some special features on it. You get a new 2K scan of an archival theatrical print. New audio commentary of director and co-writer Lee Harry and actors Eric Freeman and James Newman. New Sleigh Bells Ring Again, the story of Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, featuring interviews with co-writer and director Lee Harry, actors Eric Freeman, James Newman, Elizabeth Catan, Daryl Giblow, Kenny McCabe, and makeup effects artist Christopher Biggs. New Garbage Days Are Here Again, a look at the film's locations. New Ricky Today, a short film featuring a 2018 interview with Ricky Caldwell. New I Don't Sleep, an extended interview with makeup effects artist Christopher Biggs. Audio commentary with Lee Harry, co-writer Joseph H. Hurl, I can't even talk. Joseph H. Earl and James L. Newman, and a theatrical trailer. And that is Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, guys. Yes, we got to put this up here, Texas. It's Garbage Day. Yes, Darren. I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't want to forget about that. But Eric Freeman has actually shown up on Pizzow's channel. He's actually a top guy and was shocked he has fans. Yeah, I mean, people had been looking for Eric Freeman for a long time, and there were a lot of, probably unfounded assumptions that maybe he was hiding and all that. But I think it was actually that he just didn't realize that anybody was looking for him. Anybody cared about this little movie he was in. So yeah, I think that's really cool. I need to actually go back and watch that video that he was on with Pizzow, because didn't they do a commentary for Silent Night, Deadly Night 2? I thought that's what one of the things that Pizzow did with Eric Freeman. So moving right along. I'm trying to move along with these pretty steadily, just so we don't, so it doesn't get too late on us. It's 10:20 right now, but the next one I want to talk about is the wackiness that is Basket Case, directed by none other than Frank Henenlotter. So Basket Case. Oh man, this thing yes, it's a bad movie. It's very low budget. It has Wig Woman in it. I'm going to explain about Wig Woman here in just a little bit. Hey Anthony, you say, hey Dana, hope your weekend was well. Well, Anthony, I'm having a little trouble in the job department, which I won't bore you with, but if you're interested in the gory details about that and what's going on, in case you haven't heard and you care to know, feel free to go back and watch the beginning of this stream where I talk about that. But yeah, my weekend went pretty well considering. Steve and I did go get to see Jaws on the big screen. We didn't get to see it in 3D because Dana messed up and got the tickets for the regular version, but we still had a good time, or great time, actually, in my opinion. So thank you very much. John, you say horror movies in 1987 were so weird anyway. You got this Blood Diner, Street Trash, plus it seems like there was a strange doo-wop 50s rockabilly thing having a late 80s horror. Yeah, I think I brought that up to Steve the other day, that it seemed like there was a lot of that going on. So I'm glad you picked that out too. Johnny said every year in the 80s has a unique feel to the movies, it seems. So, like I said, I'm going to talk to y'all about Wig Woman here in just a second, in case people don't know what I'm talking about in that case. But let me give you a little bit of plot on Basket Case in case there's somebody out there that had never heard of Basket Case. The feature debut of director Frank Henenlotter. 1982's Basket Case is a righteous and blood-splattered midnight movie experience now immortalized in a lavish new 4K restoration by the Museum of Modern Art, believe it or not. Dwayne Bradley seems like a pretty ordinary guy. His formerly conjoined twin Belial, on the other hand, is a deformed creature who lives in a wicker basket. Arriving in the Big Apple and taking up a room at a seedy hotel, the pair set about hunting down and butchering the surgeons responsible for their separation. Filmed on a shoestring budget against the backdrop of 1980s New York, where it played on the midnight movie circuit for over 2.5 years, guys. Basket Case has clawed its way from its humble origins to become one of the most celebrated cult movies of all time. Excuse me, guys. Whew. Yes, Texas, I totally agree that Basket Case is awesome. I did meet, it's been several years back, but I did get to meet Frank Kennelotter, and I will actually, hold on just one second. I have my arrow released, but I do have, my dogs must have messed up the rugs here. I do have a signed copy of Basket Case that Frank Kennelotter signed for me at Cinema Wasteland several years back. Then you say Basket Case is another that captures horror and comedy really well. I agree. Also, it's a time capsule of gritty early New York. I'm nostalgic for this one. Love it. I do too, Darren, and I could go back and watch this thing anytime. There's just sadly, the older I get, it seems like the less time I have to watch movies, and I really should take the time to watch more of them, but time gets away from me. And then one of these days, I'm going to wake up dead, and it's going to be too late to watch these glorious movies. So I need to get on the stick, really. But as I was saying, here is my signed copy. You can see, Frank Henenlotter's name there. This is the Something Weird Blu-ray. I actually bought this off of his table, and then he signed it for free for me. And it says, to Dana from your friends at Hotel Broslin, Frank Henenlotter. And Frank Henenlotter was actually a really nice guy. People may think he's one of those, bitchy New York type of people, but no, he was very nice man. Took time to talk to me and let me talk about my love for Basket Case. And I've actually since seen him on some of Joe Bob's older shows, like on the drive-in theater and stuff like that for the movie channel. And he and Joe Bob have a really good rapport. They really seem to be good friends. Um, so I'm going to lay that signed copy over there. But I promised you that I was going to talk about Wig Woman. And some of you may know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of you may not know what I'm talking about. But in the movie, Dwayne starts a romance with a receptionist for one of the doctors that he is planning on killing with his brother Bilal. But he falls for this receptionist who has an obvious bad wig. I mean, this is worse than Jamie Lee Curtis's Halloween 2 wig, in my opinion, which the Halloween 2 wig is pretty bad, but I think this one has it beat. Texas, you say Basket Case 5 will have old curly jaws with Brendan Fraser as well. I'm having like really hilarious images in my head from that. Oh man. Where did old Curly Jaws go? We lost a few people. We're down to 8 people in here, and we did have 10 earlier. But so I found out later the reason why she has this really bad wig on is the actress was also in a punk band, and she had shaved her head. So I guess it wouldn't look good for even a New York doctor's receptionist to have her head shaved. So they gave her this really bad wig. So that's Wig Woman of who I was speaking of a little bit earlier. This, believe it or not, is 91 minutes long, which is a little bit longer than similar movies to Basket Case. Um, but if you're looking for something that you just want to watch and have a good time with and not have to concentrate a lot on, this would be a perfect movie for when you've had a bad day, in my opinion, because you can sit there, you can just laugh your ass off at some of the bad things in it, the bad stop motion animation with Bilal. You can laugh at the Wig Woman's wig. You can yeah, there's all kinds of things you can laugh at. You got tons of blood in this movie. When Bilal really tears into somebody, there's also the great scene of the vet that they end up killing. Her head gets pressed down into a drawer of instruments, and when she comes up, she's just like that, and these instruments are sticking out of her face. Um, and when the door is open, that's the first thing you see. That is a great scene. Um, I don't know. I just have so much fun with it that I can watch it anytime. I have this story too that I tell about the first time I showed this movie to my parents, and I know I've told this story before. But for the benefit of somebody that wasn't in here when I told the story, I showed this movie to my parents once. I said, "Hey, let's watch Basket Case." And so they were like, they didn't have anything better to do at the time, so they said, "Okay." And my mom didn't mind it. My mom laughed at it and stuff. But when it was over, my dad he looked at the television and then he looked at me and he said, "Dana, that is the stupidest movie I've ever seen in my life." And I couldn't contain myself. I just broke up laughing. And my mom even had to laugh too. Just the look on his face. I wish you guys had been able to see his face at that time. So there is no doubt the Basket Case is a fun movie. If you've never seen it, it's another one I say run, don't walk, go out and find a copy. Albeit, try to find a free copy if you can, because on the rare occasion somebody might not like it. So I'm gonna tell you the director approved special edition contents, and there's a ton because yes, this is the Arrow release. You get a brand new 4K restoration from the original 16 millimeter negative by the Museum of Modern Art. Um, let's see. Brand new audio commentary with writer and director Frank Henenlotter and star Kevin Van Hentrick. Archival audio commentary with Frank Henenlotter, producer Edgar Levins, actress Beverly Bonner, and filmmaker Scooter McCrae. Basket Case 3.5, an interview with Dwayne Bradley. A brand new short film by Frank Henenlotter. Me and the Bradley Boys, a brand new interview with actor Kevin Van Hentrick. A brief interview with director Frank Henenlotter. A strange 2017 interview with the director. That might be the one where they go to the old S&M bar and all that stuff. Scene Double, the Basket Case Twins, a brand new interview with actresses Florence and Mary Ellen Schultz. Blood Basket and Beyond, a brand new interview with actress Beverly Bonner. The Latvian Connection, a brand new featurette including interviews with producer Edgar Levins, casting person and actress uh, Ilza Bolotis. I know I'm probably masquerading these people's names. Associate producer and special effects artist Eugis Nigelis and Bilal performer Kika Nigelis. Bilal goes to the drive-in, a brand new interview with film critic Joe Bob Briggs. basket case at the Museum of Modern Art, footage from the 2017 restoration premiere. What's in the Basket? A feature length documentary covering the three films in the Basket Case series. In Search of the Hotel Braslin archival location featurette. The Prison of Fission basket case conjoining twins and freaks in cinema. A brand new video essay by Travis Crawford. Slash of the Night, 1976, 30 minutes, rarely seen short made by Frank Kinnelotter, featuring many of the same actors from Basket Case, including optional audio commentary Frank Kinnelotter and playwright Mike Masivinga. Basket Case and Slash and the Knife outtakes. Belial's Dream, 2017, 5 minutes, animated short by filmmaker Robert Morgan. Extensive image galleries, trailers, TV and radio spots, reversible sleeve featuring original and newly commissioned artwork by Sarah Deck. Collector's booklet featuring new writing on the film by Michael Gingold and newly created Basket Case comic strip by artist Martin Trafford. Darren, you say I need to upgrade and get that arrow release. Yeah, this is a great release, Darren. A great release. I think you probably figured that out. Okay. Brandon, what's going on, buddy? Guys, I think I'm going to have to. I got a few more of these to go through, but if y'all would just bear with me, I'm just going to take care of Brandon real quick. He probably needs his medicine. Sorry, guys. It's always like an act of Congress to get these pills in these dogs. And then if I drop something, the other dogs run to get it and all that. And I did check my temp while I was away, and excuse me, it is back up again, unfortunately. Texas, you say the arrow release is definitely worth it, and I definitely agree with that. Okay, so moving on from that one, um, is Uwe Lamel movie, probably the best Uwe Lamel movie out there, in my opinion. Just like I think the best Jess Franco movie is Bloody Moon. But the movie in which I'm talking about is The Boogeyman. And this is Steve's copy that he got from CMV Laser Vision and Alive. Um, yeah, I'm thinking this is like a German Blu-ray that he got. I don't know if it's been put out in Blu-ray form by anybody else or not. But if anybody knows if it has been, I can get a copy. I would love to, but right now this is the copy of it that we have. Is Steve's copy. Um, so this also has Susanna Love in it, who um, I could be wrong, but I think wasn't she married to Uwe Lamel at one time, and that's why she's in all of his movies for a certain time period. Susanna Love's brother, Nicholas Love, is also in this. And I don't know how many of you have seen Boogeyman, but Boogeyman 2 is another one of those films, very similar to Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, that shows almost all the footage from the first Boogeyman film in Boogeyman 2. So I like the Boogeyman. Um, So I cannot read the back of this because it's all in German. So I will just have to tell you from memory about this movie. So basically, the movie starts out with some kids that are out on the porch and they're peeking in at their mom with her lover, who must be very kinky and kind of creepy. And he's putting pantyhose on his head, and they're just messing around, and then their mother sees them outside the window peeking in, and the boyfriend or the lover, whatever way you want to look at it, kind of beats Willie, the boy, and ties him to his bed, and the little girl is told to go to bed as well, but she's not beat on and tied to her bed. She gets a knife, uncuts the ropes that are tying Willie to his bed. He gets up and goes and stabs the boyfriend to death. We move forward to where the brother and sister are now grown, but Willie doesn't talk. And they always say, Willie has not talked since that night. They just always refer to it in these hushed tones like, yes, Willie has not talked since that night. You know. Darren, you say, I'm a massive fan of the Boogeyman. Fantastic supernatural slasher with tons of atmosphere. There's two versions of Boogeyman 2, and both suck. The kid scaring his sister always makes me laugh. Yes, I love that scene. I laugh every time I see it. Um, and of course, the scene in which I'm speaking of is when Lacey, that's the sister, Willie's sister, when Lacey goes back to the old house where they grew up in the house, where the boyfriend was killed. There is a mirror in the house, and evidently the new tenants never got rid of this old mirror. Maybe they thought it was cool for um, whatever reason. And the psychiatrist seems to think if Lacey goes back to the house and sees that the mirror's not a threat, because she's convinced that somehow uh, the boyfriend, the lover, was some kind of boogeyman, that when he was killed, the evil in him went into this mirror. And so they think if she goes and she actually sees this mirror, then it'll fix her nightmares and all that about the events that happened with her brother killing the lover and all of that. So, um, yes, Darren, Nicholas Love was in Fatal Games as well. Um, but anyway, the parents are not home at the house, but they're planning on selling the house. So, um, I guess the kids that are home, the two sisters and the brother, um, as, assume that they're coming by to look at the house. And then Lacey ends up freaking out and breaking the mirror. And they say they'll pay for it. And her husband says they'll pay for it and all that. And the kids are like, nah, our parents just said, you know, that was old and we're not really worried about it. And so they just kind of took the broken mirror with them. Well, what happened when Lacey freaked out and broke the mirror is it released the boogeyman. It released the evil in there of the boyfriend that was stabbed by Willie. And so the spirit is moving around in the house even after Lacey and her husband leave, and succeeds in basically killing these kids. But the scene that Darren is referring to is um, first the sister is going to cut her hair, and she's real vain. She's playing with her hair and stuff. And then the evil force takes over and causes her to stab herself in the throat or the chest area with these big shears. At the same time, her brother's sneaking up. He's crawled up the side of the house, and he's going to peek in the window in the bathroom and scare her. And right after she's dead, you see him peek his head and he goes, "Boogeyman!" And then the window comes down and goes like that. So it's just a very hilarious scene. Um, so, but I think this movie is really bloody. I don't know if that's why I like it so much, just because it's so freaking bloody. And there's some interesting kills in this. For some people may think they're a little hokey, but for instance, there's these young people that are out on the beach having a cookout, and two of them end up going back to a car, or one of them goes back to the car to get something and doesn't come back, and that's because they've gotten killed. A sharp instrument has went through the back of their head, out their mouth. And it's all because across the lake, or across this body of water from where these young people are, Lacey and her son are fishing on the dock, and the little boy has walked in some broken glass from this mirror, and it's on his shoe, and it's reflecting over where these young people are on the other side of the body of water. So the spirit causes the sharp instrument to go into the guy. The girl comes to get in the car, and I think the door closes and pushes her into the sharp instrument in the guy's mouth. And so the other two people can see them in the car, and it looks like they're in a passionate kiss, and they're like, oh God. But really what has happened is this evil spirit has ended up killing both of them. So, I just like how a lot of it is set up. There's pitchforks going into people. Um, and Lacey even ends up with a piece of the glass, not inside of her eye, but like over the top of her eye, where she becomes possessed by the evil spirit and starts causing all kinds of havoc. But I always really liked the Boogeyman. Like I said, I think it's Uwe Lamel's best film, and I can't really tell you about any of the special features other than there's an original soundtrack CD, um, and maybe a trailer because this stuff is obviously in German. The film is only 82 minutes. But if you've never seen Boogeyman, I highly, highly recommend it. As you can see some of the kills there. And some of the different things that take place in it. So I think it's a really cool little movie and worth, 82 minutes of your time. Okay. So the next one I'm going to show is another one that was on a list of movies that people expected it to be bad, but now is considered more of a cult classic. And that is Sleepaway Camp, starring Felissa Rose. And you can see my copy has been signed by both Felissa Rose and Kathy Kami. Um, Felissa Rose signed it to Dana, meet me at the waterfront after the social, which is a big quote in the movie. Kathy Kami signed it to Dana. The name is Meg, Meg. And both of those ladies were super, super nice. If you ever see them at a convention, I highly recommend that you go up and meet them. I know this is gross, but I'm starting to get all congested and stuff. Okay. So, I think we got 5 more to go. I'm going to try to go through those pretty quick. We're just shy of it being 11 o'clock. So the tagline to this was, and still is, you won't be coming home. Now, I remember watching the sequels before I ever got to see the original Sleepaway Camp. So I got to see the Pamela Springsteen 2 and 3. And I never, for whatever reason, was able to obtain Sleepaway Camp, the original, to watch it. But my aunt Sandy had. And she would always tell me about, oh, yeah, if you get a chance, see the original Sleepaway Camp. It's, this guy gets bold. And like she was telling me about the blisters popping up on him. And Darren, you said, Dana, I'm going to head out to get some beauty sleep. I will catch the rest of the stream tomorrow. Have a good night, everyone. You have a good night too, Darren. And yeah, you can catch up on the rest of these movies I'm going to talk about. I try my best not to be long winded, but, occasionally I still am, sadly. But you have a good night, Darren. Um, so this was also a movie I saw at some of my local department stores, but I was a kid. I didn't have a job back then, so I didn't have any extra money to buy this. It may have, who knows, it could have been Good Times or whatever that put that video out originally with the tennis shoe and the knife stuck in the tennis shoe. And on the back, it has where a kid going to camp is writing this letter that people are getting killed off and they're getting really scared. And then it's just like somebody got them and they weren't able to finish their letter. Their letter stopped abruptly. So I finally was able to see it and I loved it. I was like, I like 2 and 3. They are fun. But to me, they're just so separated from this original one. This original one, directed by Robert Hiltzik, um, is, in my opinion, a really unique little horror film for that time period that it came out, which was like what, 83 or so, 82, 83. It is unrated. I'll give you a little bit of a plot synopsis for this. After a terrible boating accident killed her family, shy Angela Baker, played by Felissa Rose, went to live with her eccentric Aunt Martha and her cousin Ricky. This summer, Martha decides to send them both to Camp Arawak, a place to enjoy the great outdoors. Shortly after their arrival, a series of bizarre and violent accidents begin to claim the lives of various campers. Has a dark secret returned from the camp's past, or will an unspeakable horror end the summer season for all? From his grisly makeup effects to the truly shocking and unforgettable climax, Sleepaway Camp is no ordinary slasher film. It is a cult classic. And it is directed by Robert Hiltzik, who also did a few years back Return to Sleepaway Camp, which honestly, guys, I watched Return to Sleepaway Camp and it's as bad can be. It's horrible. I don't know how Robert Hiltzik could have made this masterpiece and then years later made Return to Sleepaway Camp. And, I wouldn't want to tell Felissa Rose or Jonathan Tiersten or any of the people that returned. Many of the people from the original Sleepaway Camp returned in Return to Sleepaway Camp. So I'm sure they thought it was great at the time that they were making it and all that, but it's a stinker, guys. I would just literally stay away from that one. Okay, John. Sorry about your phone. I'll talk to you sometime soon, I'm sure. So, see, I'm making people's phones die here because I'm going on for too freaking long. I've almost went on for 3 hours. I've only got like 4 people in here, it looks like now. So sorry, guys. Um, so, yeah, Sleepaway Camp is one of those that really stuck with me from the first boating accident to the final shocking end. Um, it's one that I can watch anytime because I love it so much. The special features on this, again, you're probably thinking, God, Dana, you got a lot of Screen Factory releases, but this has a new 2K scan, the original camera negative, new commentary with stars Felissa Rose and Jonathan Tiersten, original commentary director and writer Robert Hiltzik, Felissa Rose and webmaster Jeff Hayes, new interviews with cast and crew, Sleepaway Camp scrapbook, short film Judy by Jeff Hayes, theatrical trailer, and more. And that is Sleepaway Camp. Moving right along to is a film in the franchise that a lot of people hate. And I don't know if I would be in the hate camp when I first saw this. I was in the confused camp when I watched this because I was suspecting Michael Myers. And yes, I am talking about Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which has nothing to do with Michael Myers, totally different Halloween story. It does talk about the druids and all of that. But I have a greater appreciation for Halloween 3 now. I enjoy it as a separate film from the others in the franchise that deal with Michael Myers. Um, I really think that John Carpenter and Deborah Hill had a great idea when they came up with this. And I don't really know why now so many people hate this. Tommy Lee Wallace directed it, who was somebody that worked on the original Halloween with John Carpenter. It was written and directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, actually. So, again, I have a much greater appreciation for Halloween 3 now than I did when I was a kid. So, A terrified toy salesman is mysteriously attacked. At the hospital, the babbles and clutches the year's most popular Halloween costume, an eerie pumpkin mask. Suddenly, Dr. Daniel Chalice, Tom Atkins from The Fog and Night of the Creeps, finds himself thrust into a terrifying Halloween nightmare. Working with the salesman's daughter, Ellie, Daniel traces the mask to the Silver Shamrock Novelties Company and its founder, Connell Cochran, played by Dan O'Harely of RoboCop. Ellie and Daniel uncover Cochran's shocking Halloween plan and must stop him before trick-or-treaters across the country never come home. In this terrifying thriller from writer and director Tommy Lee Wallace, who did Stephen King's It as well. I think this movie has some eerie parts in it, and I can't really. There's one particular scene where a whole family is essentially murdered. Um, Buddy Kupfer and his family. They're tricked into going into a room. It turns out that the room is locked. They're told they're going to be watching some commercials, and that Colonel Cochran wants Buddy's any suggestions he's got on commercials, see what he thinks about them. But it's all a ruse in order to first kill their son, and then what comes out of what's left of their son is going to kill the parents. I always found that particular scene very creepy for some reason. And I don't know if anybody else felt that way, but it just, I don't know, something about it gives me the heebie jeebies. And it's not really, snakes and bugs and stuff coming out of the kid's dilapidated head after he's murdered by the commercial when he puts on the pumpkin mask. His head kind of pretty much liquefies, and then these creatures come out, poisonous snakes and spiders and other little critters and stuff come out of there. I think it's probably the reaction of Buddy when this happens, because there's this whole scene where he's just like that, and he's screaming, and the snakes keep biting him, these poisonous snakes, and he can't get out. He's trying to get out of the door. The snakes, I guess they end up killing his wife because she passes out on the floor, and then the snakes are crawling all over, and they're making Dr. Chalice watch all of this, and now he knows what they're planning on doing to all the children on Halloween. So, yeah, I think this is a really good entry into the series. This, again, is another Screen Factory release. This is one of the better cases for these 4K releases. So we get the 4K, and we also get a Blu-ray. Disc 1 is the 4K. You get a new 2021 4K scan, original camera negative, audio commentary with director Tommy Lee Wallace, and audio commentary with actor Tom Atkins. Disc 2 is a Blu-ray, new 2021 4K scan, original camera negative, audio commentary with Tommy Lee Wallace, audio commentary with Tom Atkins. Standalone, The Making of Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, featuring Tommy Lee Wallace, actors Tom Atkins and Stacey Nelkin, stunt coordinator Dick Warlock, director of photography Dean Cundy, and more. Another Horrors Hallowed Grounds with Sean Clark, revisiting the original shooting locations with host Sean Clark and Tommy Lee Wallace. Interview with makeup effects artist Tom Berman, a still gallery, theatrical trailer, TV spots, and radio spots. And that is Halloween 3. We're getting down to the last few, guys. Looks like 3 of you are still in here. So I think Texas is still in here, but I'm not sure who else is still in here. Everybody else has pretty much quit talking. The next one is also a 4K from Scream Factory, but it's for They Live, which I actually think They Live is an underrated John Carpenter film, in my opinion. I love this film. I watched it again recently. Looks great on the 4K. It has Roddy Piper in it. Meg Foster's also in it. Keith David. Um, I just love it. I think it's unique, especially for that time period. I think John Carpenter did a great job with it. There is Dolby Atmos on this 4K too, as well. Um, oh, so now we have 5 in here. So, okay. Yeah, Texas, I thought you were still here, but now we've got 6 in here. I don't know how accurate this counter is on here. I try to, kind of gauge if a lot of my people are disappearing. I figure I'm probably talking way too long about one movie or another, and it's boring people. But I don't have too many more to cover, and then I am going to get off here and I try to get some rest, even though they won't let me work tomorrow, so um, I will be kind of taking it easy tomorrow, which in some ways I guess that's good because I'll be uh, I'll be able to get a little rest. So let me give you a little bit of um, plot on this. Horror meister John Carpenter, Halloween, The Thing, directs this heart-pounding thriller in which aliens are systematically gaining control of the earth by masquerading as humans and lulling the public into submission. Humanity's last chance lies with a lone drifter who stumbles upon a harrowing discovery, a unique pair of sunglasses that reveals the terrifying and deadly truth. So, I would definitely recommend this one if you have never seen it. Find a way to watch it, for free, preferably before, like I say, you plunk down your hard earned money. And if you love it and you have a way to watch 4K, this is an awesome 4K. And if you have the way to watch it with the Dolby Atmos sound, that's awesome too, because that also is included in this package. Special features you get, just like I said, new 7.1 Dolby Atmos audio commentary with director John Carpenter and actor Roddy Piper, independent thoughts, an interview with John Carpenter on the Blu-ray, Man vs. Aliens, an interview with actor Keith David on the Blu-ray, Woman of Mystery, an interview with actress Meg Foster, Blu-ray. Watch, look, and listen to sights and sounds of They Live. A look at the visual style, stunts, and music with director of photography Gary B. Kibb, stunt coordinator Jeff Amata, and co-composer Alan Howarth, Blu-ray. Original making of They Live on the Blu-ray. Theatrical trailer on Blu-ray, TV spots on Blu-ray, and the still gallery on Blu-ray. So basically, you can watch the movie with Dolby Atmos sound, or you can watch the movie with commentary with John Carpenter and actor Roddy Piper on the 4K. And a lot of the rest of the stuff is on the Blu-ray. So that is They Live. I hear somebody whining back there, so sorry. Let me go and check and see what's going on. Sammy, be good, buddy. Be good. Hey, no, be good. No, Rich. I'm not gonna let you going out there and getting all crazy. Okay. So, I'm going to try to finish these last 3 here, guys, for those 4 of you that are in here. The next one is another in the Halloween franchise, and one that I was really excited when it came out because it'd been a long while since we'd had a Michael Myers Halloween at this point. And of course, I'm talking about Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. This is the 4K, again from Scream Factory. this is not a good case for this one. Little bit of plot on this one. He butchered 16 people trying to get to his sister. He was shot and incinerated, but still, the entity that Dr. Sam Loomis, the legendary Donald Pleasance, calls evil on two legs, would not die. Tonight, Michael Myers has come home again to kill. This time, Michael returns to Haddonfield for Jamie Lloyd, played by Danielle Harris, the orphan daughter of Laurie Strode, and her babysitter, Rachel, Ellie Cornell, from Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, and House of the Dead. Can Loomis stop Michael before the unholy slaughter reaches his innocent young niece? Michael Pataki, Sasha Jensen, and Kathleen Kinmont's co-star in this smash sequel that marked the long-awaited return to the original storyline and remains infamous for its startling twist ending and graphic violence. Okay, I don't know if people hate this one more or hate Halloween 5 more, but I like them both. But I was extremely excited when I found out, or when I started seeing the trailers for Halloween 4 pop up. I was like, oh my gosh, Michael Myers return. I was the biggest mark for this series ever. And truly, whenever I watched that, I was not disappointed. I mean, it's different than the original Halloweens, but still worthy of a watch or two. In my case, I watch it every Halloween, and sometimes it points in between. I definitely do not think it's such an awful film. Sorry, guys, my voice is starting to go. Means I've been talking too long, right? But but I still would recommend it if you've never seen Halloween 4, but you've seen some of like 1 and 2 maybe, or 1, 2, and 3, and you'd love to see Michael Myers come back. This is a great one, in my opinion, to watch. Not a bad film. There's nothing bad about the acting in it, I don't think. The mask always changes in these, but that's a small complaint on my side anyway. But I have no idea why Sammy is whining so much. Rage, sit down in here. So we'll quit whining. Sorry, guys, I have to keep getting up so much. Brandon, he's evidently sleeping, but Reggie and Sammy are being little turds right now. I love them, but so let me go over the special features really quickly here, and then we'll cover these last two real quick so that everybody can get to bed. Disc 1, of course, is the 4K. Again, you get a new 2021 4K scan, original camera negative, new Dolby Atmos mix, audio commentary with actors Ellie Cornell and Danielle Harris, audio commentary with director Dwight H. Little and author Justin Bean. Disc 2 is the Blu-ray. You get a new 2021 4K scan, original camera negative, new Dolby Atmos mix, audio commentary with Ellie Cornell and Danielle Harris, audio commentary with Dwight H. Little and Justin Bean. The Making of Halloween 4 Final Cut. The Making of Halloween 4. Horror's Hallowed Grounds. A look at the film's locations with Sean Clark. Theatrical trailer, TV spots, and a still gallery. And that is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I got 2 people in here, and Texas is probably one of them. Texas may be two both of them. So, down to the last 2. This one's actually a DVD because I do not have a Blu-ray of it. And that is Sorority House Massacre. Who will survive the final exam? I don't know, guys. I love Sorority House Massacre. I think it's fun. It's one I can watch anytime. Is it a great movie? No. But it's a fun little slasher, in my opinion. And in my opinion, some of you guys may disagree with me. It's a lot better than the second Sorority House Massacre, um, which just basically features girls popping their tops all the time and not much else until more towards the end. So the plot for this: when Beth comes to visit her friends at the sorority, she gets a strange feeling from the house that seems hauntingly familiar. The girls just want to have fun, but Beth suffers from nightmares of a knife wielding killer. Little does she know a dangerous psycho has just escaped from the mental ward and is heading straight for the sorority. The girls' night of fun quickly becomes a night of terror as the killer stalks them one by one. And this does kind of have a Halloween type theme to it. And I'm not going to give it away for you. I would just encourage you to watch this yourself. This one is another one that you can probably watch for free and see if you like it. This is one of those new Concord films. Of course, Roger Corman had a lot to do with all these films. This is directed by a woman. It's directed by Carol Frank. And it stars Angela O'Neill, Wendy Martell, Pamela Ross, Nicole Rio, John C. Russell, Vincent Valencio, and Joe Nassi. And don't worry if you haven't heard of any of these people. But again, if you have not seen this, I highly recommend it. There's a nostalgia factor that goes along with this one as well. This is one I remember in my early video rental days watching this one and enjoying it, ultimately enjoying it. And so I still like to pull this one out every once in a while and watch it. So if you've never seen this one, I recommend that you try to find it. If you like these low budget slashers, I think you'll really enjoy this one. All right. So the final one we're going to talk about is more than likely one in the Friday the 13th series that a lot of people do not like, because I've heard a lot of people mention that they do not like it. But I find it fun, um, even though very little of it um, happens at Crystal Lake, and actually very little of it happens at New York. A lot of people say, well, it's Jason Takes a Cruise Ship. And of course, I'm talking about Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. But as people have pointed out, it's really more like Jason Takes a Cruise Ship, because most of the kills take place on a cruise ship with these high schoolers that are getting ready to graduate. So a little bit of plot, as if you need it for a Friday 13th, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. And it does have Kane Hodder playing Jason as well. The Big Apple's in big trouble as indestructible psycho fiend Jason Voorhees hits the road to New York City and paints the town red. After a shocking return from beyond the grave, the diabolical Jason ships out aboard a teen-filled love boat bound for New York, which he soon transforms into the ultimate voyage of the damned. The one Then one of his terrified victims escapes into the nightmare maze of Manhattan subways and sewers, only to confront Jason one final time. The imposing Kane Hodder plays Jason with unholy relish. Daily Variety said that in this unholy eighth installment of the horror series. Okay. And so I'm not going to go on and on about this other than to say, um, this has one of my favorite kills in the series. Of course, I love the sleeping bag kill in part 7, but I also love when the boxer gets his head punched off by Jason in this. So you could look forward to that. If it's been a while since you've seen this, maybe pull this sucker back out and give it another watch. You might enjoy it better than you think you would. This also has the tagline, New York has a new problem. So, special features on this, you get audio commentary with director Rob Hedden, audio commentary with actors Scott Reeves, Jensen Daggett, and Kane Hodder. New York has a new problem. The making of Friday 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Slash scenes, gag reel, theatrical trailer, and still gallery. And so, for the final two of you, or one of you that maybe are using two devices that are in here, Texas, I know you're still here. I would like to thank everybody for stopping by and hanging out with me for over 3 hours. I hope to be able to do one of these again where we just talk about a variety of bad movies that we like, or hopefully that some of you guys like. Um, so, again, tomorrow night I will be doing the second installment of Argento versus Fulci. Wednesday night, I will be doing a Cheese Extreme Wednesday with New Year's Evil as one of the films. And this weekend, I am planning on doing a watch along for Evil Laugh. And I'll try to get, a YouTube link or some sort of link to use for Evil Laugh. I'm not sure if it's going to be on Saturday or Sunday, but I will be sure to let you guys know when I get that figured out. So, thank you, everybody. I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the night. I don't know what tomorrow's may bring. I may not have a job after tomorrow because I don't know what they're going to answer me as far as email. I may not even be able to check my email. They may have taken my remote access away. I don't know. In an attempt to try to force me back into the office. So again, I don't know. Hopefully, what's going on with my job will not cause problems with the fun things that I've got planned for this week, as far as the streams and stuff. But is old Curly Jaws an evil laugh? I don't think so, but maybe we could do a remake and he could be in there. Um, so again, I'm going to skedaddle on out of here and I will see all of you guys on the flip side. Y'all have a good night now.